The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great.
Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
That's right. It is Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, and, of course, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. I'm Justin Kidder, and, of course, the full round table of guys hanging out with all of you here this morning or this afternoon, depending on when you're tuning into this program, of course. Mr. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
You look like you're ready just to jump off that top rope and take someone else out today. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I'm scouting out who it's going to be today. I'm not quite sure
I think
yet.
Casey deserves. I think he has it coming his way.
No, he wouldn't do that on FC Day. He wouldn't
yeah,
do that
exactly.
on FC
Is
Day.
it another
FC
big
plays
soccer
today.
day? 2 big soccer matches in 1 week?
Yeah.
How are you guys containing yourself right now?
I don't know. It's hard to contain both of us. So.
Tag team champions right there. Casey McAllister, awesome producer, of course, doing all the things behind the scenes, setting us up to look as good or / bad as what I am. But, we appreciate Casey, no doubt about it. Elliot.
Hey.
There's that smile. I've been here for like half hour. I've looked under the desk. I looked under that chair. I even went back out to the truck. I could not find his smile.
Well, here's the thing.
You're like
So,
Shawn Michaels, dude.
the only time I've worked with Kinner is during the afternoons. These guys know me pretty well now. I'm not a morning person.
Oh, okay. So it's not me. This
No.
whole time, I'm very sensitive. I'm like, damn, Elliot must
I get
hate
in
me.
here and it's just like, ugh. And then it takes me until about 12:30, and then I'll be like, okay, let's chipper, let's make some little laughs. That's what I'll do.
Well, the good thing is the show's done a half hour. After that point,
glad we're on 10 to 12.
I didn't make the time. I didn't make that time. But yeah, listen, it's a beautiful day. Last day of the work week for us, I guess. So
Is it? Has that been confirmed?
It's a little bit. It has been confirmed.
Huge.
Thank you. There's some jerk in this room that ignored my text last night.
Oh, who was it?
Oh, big soccer guy over there. No, I figured it's okay, Casey. It's okay. Maybe my next text you'll respond to.
My bad.
So to be fair to him, he texted us that. He texted all of us that
Dude,
and said, "Are we really off?" Kinner wants to know. And then we all said yes. And then I guess he just didn't text back.
Didn't relay that message.
Casey,
Relay the message.
for those who do know me, you don't even need to apologize. My family literally every time I see them, it's never a warm embrace because it's usually them just complaining to me, oh, cool, you're here, because you never respond, you don't answer calls, this, that. I'm the worst responder ever. So don't apologize. I'm a hypocrite as far as that's concerned. But.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. I think I was just so enthralled with the pickleball match that we were about to take part in, or I was editing. I don't know when I sent that message, but I know that I was super distracted. That won't happen again. I'm sorry about that.
Dude, you don't have to explain yourself. In fact, the fact that we just took a segment out of the show for you to explain yourself, I'm sorry that you felt you had to do that. But since it is a Friday, my mood is even better now. It's even better now.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful Friday on a Wednesday. It's a hump day Friday.
Hump
Jacob
day.
did just remind me, though, we will have content on Friday. So we will not be here for a live show, but we will have content that will be released on Friday when we are not here.
Well, good to know. And you said Jacob. That's right. Mr. Jacob Tissett, former co-host of Grip It and Rip It.
Of Grip and Rip It fame. I mean, just incredible.
We should still get T-shirts made.
I don't disagree.
Just in case. By the way, if Trace doesn't come in here and fire me between now and noon, then I should be good. I will have tied the amount of shows that Grip It and Rip It lasted. So if I can get through Monday, that means I would have surpassed.
How about that?
And that'd be impressive.
Yeah, career goals.
Career goals. That's right. That's right.
Career goals.
What was your favorite moment from Grip It and Rip It?
It probably, you either helped the show or you killed the show. But
That's true.
you sat in for the entire last show.
That's true.
I think it's undeniable he killed it.
I was there for the finale.
Every show without Elliot on it had one after it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But again, off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. We're going to react. The Reds take Game 1 over the Yankees because that's what the Reds do in Game 1s, of course. We'll take a look at our Chatterbox Twitter poll coming up here in just a few moments. We'll talk about, of course, curious people's thoughts on their favorite MLB rule changes, and it ties into this Reds-Yankees series, at least from my perspective. We'll get to that in a moment. Elliot's headlines around the corner. We'll have a clip from our conversation with Jay Morrison, who kind of just dropped this little comment in passing, and then when you go back and rewatch the interview, it kind of caught some people by surprise. Joe Burrows, the way that they handled him throughout OTAs and throughout the offseason programs, of course, we thought that it was part of the plan, right? We think it's part of the plan to give him some off days, this, that, and the other, but the way Jay made it sound is maybe that's not the case. Either way, we'll get to that around the corner, and then I'm going to defend my Cleveland Browns coming up later on. I came in today.
Don't you always?
I came in today, all right, and just not like just a soft good morning from Jacob. No wonder this show didn't last between you. I can't stand you, dude. And then just goes right into laying in on Amari Cooper and the Cleveland Browns. Like,
if you're going to give it to me for T. Higgins for about 2 months, the first 2 months I knew you.
I'll raise my hand. I'll wait. When did I give you crap about T. Higgins and the Bengals? I think I defended the Bengals.
I think we can pull up some Muirfield clips about you saying the Bengals weren't going the right way.
No, I said it's smart of them not to do that. It's smart of them not to. They were never going to get a deal done with T. Higgins.
That's
Never.
fair.
He was
That's
never
fair.
a part of the future. Screw you, buddy. Yeah.
Well, this seems a little
Seems
aggressive
heated.
now. So we'll get to Mark Cooper
we'll
later.
wait.
We'll
Yeah,
get to
let me
Mark
calm
Cooper
down.
later.
We're going to calm down. But let's open up with some positive talk. How about those Cincinnati Reds? And everyone knew, including Elliot, that the Cincinnati Reds were going to take Game 1 last night against those New York Yankees.
That's right.
What a fun little clip I woke up to this morning.
Woo-hoo.
Kirby,
It was my first clip, dude.
I think was that you?
It was my first clip.
That was you?
What'd you think?
That's
was it
even
good?
better.
I thought it was Kirby. I had all my money on Kirby.
That had Kirby's touch all over it.
I was going to send Kirby a text. Oh, my goodness.
It was my first clip.
The hits keep on coming.
Kirby always does that too. He always goes for Elliott's.
Well, it's just like
picks
Kirby
that.
finds, like, and it'll be like months behind. It'll be like, I'll say one thing in 3 seconds, and he'll find it and he'll post it. Elliott just bashed the Cincinnati Reds. Will he apologize? So I thought for sure that was Nick Kirby. I apologize, Nick Kirby, for thinking that was you. You wouldn't have slandered me as hard as my coworker over here did.
It was a question, though. It was just like, will he take it back? That's also the
No,
clip.
because we knew they were going to win that game.
Oh, we did.
Everybody.
We did.
Everybody knew they were going to win. They've won now 14 first game of the series of the season. First game of the series of the season.
And they'll win the next one too.
So that's what they do. The Reds come into each series. They're the best. In fact, if the World Series started today, the Reds I would bet every dollar I had the Reds win Game 1 and then lose out.
Regardless of who's on the mound?
Regardless.
In fact, if they do make the World Series, Graham Ashcraft, World Series Game 1 starter.
Bobblehead.
There you go. 2 bobbleheads in one season.
A World Series Graham Ashcraft bobblehead. But yeah, it was good to see the Reds win last night. It was good to see them beat the Yankees. Anytime you beat the Yankees, it feels like an extra boost.
I did not like some of the tweets on my timeline about how much Ellie loved hitting in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, well, we got to try to.
We got to try 500 against the Yankees.
He has a habit.
460 against
He
the
has a
Dodgers.
habit of playing well in Los Angeles. He has a habit of playing well in New York. But to be fair, Ellie's special because he has a habit of playing great everywhere.
That's
so
true.
we don't need to overreact to that too much, but I know that people want to find that negative. But no, Elliot, look, you were right. In both of you really were both kind of throwing out some negative stuff about the Reds yesterday, but it was more so about, like, what have they done to get you to buy in, to be confident in them every single night. But the thing is about this young Cincinnati Reds team is I do think that not so much when their back is against the wall, but I do think when they find themselves in situations where they're playing in Los Angeles, it's a young roster. I think you play that, this feels like a big series. We're going to play that inspired baseball, if you will. I think there's a reason that they play well in Los Angeles. All right, I think there's a reason they play well in New York. It's kind of weird, but I do think that the youth of the roster, that's, when you're a veteran roster, playing in New York is just playing in New York. You've done this for many, many years, right? But when you're a young roster like this, I think you get that inspired play from some of these guys. You want to pitch well when you're in New York. You want to hit well. You want to, put on a great performance when you're in New York. And I think that's what we got last night. And I want to see that continue through games 2 and 3. But overall, you're right. I do see a lot of people they're hitting the brakes a little. Like, I want to be excited, but we see them kick teams' ass in Game 1 all the time, but can they carry it on? Now, luckily, they do have Andrew Abbott on the mound tonight, but we were joking earlier. This is the typical Reds game where they're going to get a great Andrew Abbott performance on the mound and the, run production will not show up. So I'm being the negative one now. We'll see how this goes tonight. But regardless, big performances last night from the stars. That's really what mattered to me. It's like you can have your Martini have a big game that leads the Reds to a win over the Yankees. You're not going to win a lot of games because of Martini.
Yep.
You need to win games because of Elly De La Cruz. You need to win games because of your starting pitching. That's been the recipe of success for the Reds all season. So that's why I feel so good about that Reds win last night, is because it was because of Elly De La Cruz's performance. It was because of the great performance from Graham Ashcraft, which if you're consistently getting outings like that from him with what you've got from Andrew Abbott and Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo throughout the year, that's why they're in the spot they're in, is because of the pitching. But yeah, with the Elly De La Cruz performance, the performance from Graham Ashcraft, only giving up 1 run from the bullpen in the final 3+ innings or 4 innings, whatever it was, I felt good about that win. That wasn't a fluke type win. That was okay, you won because of the great pieces you have in place. Now, can they keep it going tonight? That's the next big
Right,
question.
and Alexis Diaz looked pretty good. One inning, 9 pitches, didn't allow a hit. He seems to be really becoming back into that form. I think it's 13 or 14 converted saves in a row now for him. That's just incredible. He's coming back to what we expected from him after a bumpy start to the year. His ERA down below 5 now, which is big for a reliever. You don't pitch that much. You don't pitch that many innings. To get your ERA down that much shows how good he's been lately.
I was going to add, it's when the Reds jump out to a lead like last night, I do have confidence. In years past, 2021 specifically, I remember, it was a good team coming into that season. I thought it was going to be our year. The bullpen killed them. It was big league Keith Hembry and a bunch of other scrub names that would come in and blow these games. When the Reds have a lead, I actually have confidence.
Yeah.
One run lead, maybe not. 2-run lead, maybe not. If it's 3 or more, I'm pretty confident the Reds bullpen's going to get the job done, and that's what they did last night. It got a little bit hairy, but when you jump out to a 5-0 lead early, obviously the other team is going to score runs eventually. My plan of intentionally walking Aaron Judge would have worked to perfection last night. They didn't want to implement it. That's fine. You can just let him hit home runs every single night. But yeah, I'm confident in the bullpen. I'm confident in the pitching staff that they're able to, once they have a lead, secure it, hold on to it all the way home. And that's what I took away from last night. If you're able to steal one away from the Yankees while your bullpen pretty much goes half the game, that's what I look for.
Graham Ashcraft, thumbs up. I mean, that was a solid
It
performance.
was a solid outing. It was a good Graham Ashcraft outing. I think Jacob said it best.
If I'm going to be honest, this is what we've come to expect out of Graham Ashcraft. You go 4 innings of shutout baseball, and then in the 5th inning, around 70 pitches, he's going to allow 2 or 3 runs, and hopefully he can get out of it. And last night he allowed 1 and had 2 guys on base that ended up scoring. But he really had a good outing. He looked solid. He didn't get in a lot of trouble. A lot of times with him, when he goes 4 shutout innings, it's getting out of bases loaded situations or runners on third that he ends up navigating around. But last night he was pretty clean until that 5th inning. So
this is why I like the notion of moving him to the bullpen. I love that idea. Obviously, you would think that might happen if the Reds were ever to stay healthy enough to have the starting 5 we ideally have. And then you just move Graham Ashcraft to the bullpen, and he does the 1, 2, maybe 3 innings of work. He becomes the Nick Martinez of the team, and I wouldn't hate that at all because he's very clearly able to pitch those first 3 innings with great precision. He's almost the reverse Luke Dreamweaver. I don't know. So the Luke Dreamweaver last year,
we saw him last night.
And last night, shout out to Carrie in the chat. She was bringing it up. And
Reds always win on Luke Dreamweaver night.
The Reds always win on Luke Dreamweaver. Justin didn't know this bit of mine, but last year, every time Luke Dreamweaver, I had 2 bits last year. Ian Jabot is the pride of Great Britain, and then I had Luke Dreamweaver every time he'd come in, no matter how poorly he pitched, because you banked on every single time he came in, he would pitch badly. The Reds would still manage to win because the offense knew they had to score a bunch of runs. So last night I made the joke, of course, that anytime the Reds win, it's because of Luke Dreamweaver. He actually pitched well last night, 2 innings. I don't think he allowed a run.
He's a great reliever this year.
Great reliever. But my point was Graham Ashcraft is the reverse Luke Dreamweaver because Luke Dreamweaver would get absolutely hammered in the first 2 innings, and then he'd settle down for the remaining 4 because David Bell was like, all right, we already lost this game, so we're just going to leave him in there to get beaten.
Some innings.
But then he wouldn't get beaten, ever. And then the offense would come back, and he never got a decision, ever. He never got a win or a loss. It was very, very funny. But, yeah, Graham Ashcraft, I would give it a solid B outing last night.
And that's one reason why I think back to pitchers past due, like Amir Garrett was moved to the bullpen for reasons like that. I know Cody Reed was one. I liked Cody. Cody was actually cool. He's actually one of my favorite at Reds Fest. he's a guy you could just sit. Like, he's a guy you go out and have a couple beers with. Like, he was just that cool of a dude. I was a big Cody Reed fan. I was bummed that didn't work out. But guys like that were moved to the bullpen as well because they were brought up as starters. They'd be dominant for 2-3 innings, and then the wheels would fall off after that. Very similar to what you guys are talking about a little bit with Graham Ashcraft. Ellie De La Cruz, 2 for 5 last night, scored 2 runs, 2 RBIs, a home run, and a triple. And again, just when the lights get brightest, he seems to shine the brightest for the Cincinnati Reds, and that's how you really could tell the difference between a superstar and just a good player. Good players, sometimes don't live up to expectations when the lights are the brightest, but he seems to always do that, whether it's in Los Angeles when they're playing the Dodgers, New York last night, his first game at Yankee Stadium. How about that? Jonathan India did not get a hit, but he did get a walk. He did score a run. So, he continues to find ways to contribute, even though he couldn't find a way to put the bat on the ball last night. So
that's okay.
Jonathan India, I know with that, without getting a hit, though, he just secured his spot in the Reds longer, right?
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's right.
We're going to need him to get hot and stay hot again because we got about one more month.
Trade value plummeted last night, according to Jacob.
He needs to hit. Yeah, I mean, I tweet those. I tweet that upwards red graph all the time. I think it was about 1 or 2 blue ones yesterday going down. Yeah. So hopefully he hits 500 for another 3 weeks and we can ship him off for a top 30 price.
That is the hope. That is minus the back end of that as far as that goes. All right, Reds Yankees game 2. Again, this is Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton, Dayton's radio home for Reds baseball. So we'll have game 2 later on tonight between the Reds and Yankees. Andrew Abbott on the mound. Elliot, no way in hell the Reds were going to win this series. They have a chance to win it tonight. But to answer the question from the clip, my first clip ever on Chatterbox, did it change? Did it change your view? Did it change your perception of this series?
No, not at all. Because
damn it, so close.
We've done this song and dance quite literally 14 times, and it's gone the other way 14 times. So yeah, I'm not worried about my take that the Reds were going to lose to the Yankees. Not yet.
There you go, Reds fan of the day, Mr. Elliott Rearing. All right, Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Our Chatterbox Sports Twitter poll we put out yesterday evening. Favorite MLB rule changes. We'll take a look at the results of that. We threw out a couple of the rule changes, the more notable rule changes, of course. And it's interesting results. In fact, at one point, I know that Casey had texted me when he was not ignoring me. He said, hey, by the way, one of the options on there, we feel like that's going to be 100% that particular option. And that ended up not being the case. Right. I was kind of shocked.
We both thought the same thing, Ellie and I.
So we'll reveal what those options were. We appreciate those who did participate in the Chatterbox Twitter poll, and go take a look at it now. But we'll be right back. More Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, and we are back. Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. Jimmy, Casey, Elliot, Jacob, and myself, Justin Kinner, we are off and rolling here. Again, we opened up the show looking back at the Reds' win over the Yankees in Game 1 last night. Andrew Abbott back on the mound tonight for Game 2. Reds have a chance to take the series from the Yankees on the road. We'll get to that in a moment. But we threw out yesterday on the Chatterbox Twitter poll favorite MLB rule changes. We appreciate those who participated. We have billions and billions of votes. So we appreciate that. But let's take a look at that Twitter poll. Let's take a look at the results. Favorite MLB rule changes, and some of the results definitely interesting as far as that's concerned. One of those was, of course, the pitch clock. Okay, the pitch clock was one. The National League getting the DH. Playing every team in Major League Baseball, then of course the extra base runner, or the base runner on second in extra innings, of course, and the pitch clock ran away with it. Now, Casey, when you texted me last night, what was the option that you thought was going to be the one that ran away with it?
The DH.
The DH?
Yep.
I know you surprised. What do we have the tallies or the percentage of these?
I can read them off in just a second.
You're good. I'll pull that up now. But so I look at all those options of what is your favorite MLB rule change so far? National League getting the DH, playing every team in Major League Baseball, the extra base runner, and extra innings, of course, and then at the bottom, the pitch clock. And a lot of people voted for the pitch clock, obviously.
40%.
40%. That's a high number for a pitch clock because I didn't think – the result of the pitch clock has been great. but it's one of those things where it's not my favorite, I guess, because I don't feel like I watch baseball any differently because of the pitch clock. One thing that I thoroughly enjoy about all the rule changes that I don't think gets enough attention, and we got to see it last night with the Reds playing in New York, playing against the Los Angeles, against the New York Yankees, of course, is the fact that now every team plays every team. I think that is such an underrated change in baseball as far as all the rule changes that were made to better the sport. We could talk about pace of play, and the pitch clock, I think, has made it better for the overall viewing experience for fans, even though I don't feel like I'm noticing anything different. I love the sound of baseball, the look of baseball, whether I'm at the ballpark, listening in the car, in my truck, or watching at home. Bottom line is, pace of play, I was fine with it to begin with. But as far as every team playing every team, I hated the fact that the Cincinnati Reds would only play the New York Yankees once every couple of years. I hated that. It's the New York Yankees. That is the face of Major League Baseball. That is the premier franchise. And the fact that as a Reds fan, we hear about the Yankees, we watch all their highlights, that we get to watch the Red Sox and Yankees every single Sunday night baseball matchup. But as a Reds fan, to never see my team play the New York Yankees, that was just, I guess status quo. That was Major League Baseball. But the fact that now, every single year we get to look forward to Reds-Yankees, I think that's a big deal. The fact that the Cubs and the Yankees, two of the most storied franchises in baseball, rarely played each other, that's a very wild thing to actually think about. The Dodgers and Yankees, the two biggest markets in baseball, rarely played one another. That's another wild thing that up until now New York and Los Angeles fans, they'll play each other every year. That's a big deal, and I think that that's the one thing when we talk so much for many years about what can baseball do to market their sport better. Well, I don't give a damn about Subway commercials. I don't give a damn about, having them do voiceovers for radio ads and this, that, and the other. To me, it's take your Aaron Judges and make sure that his ass is in every single ballpark every year, or at least every other year. As a Reds fan, now I get to actually guarantee that I'm going to watch an Aaron Judge game every year. But we're going to watch Aaron Judge more times than not because it's the Yankees. But what about the reverse? Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz is a huge star in Cincinnati, but imagine how much bigger of a star he's going to be now, because every ballpark in baseball is going to get a chance to watch him live and in person every other year or every year, or at least listen to him on the radio or watch him on TV. Obviously, the Reds played in New York last night. There's a lot of Yankee fans that went just to watch the Yankees. And they're like, oh, the Reds. Who do the Reds have? Oh, this Elly De La Cruz I've heard so much about. Well, they saw how much of a star he is. Guess now, that big market in New York, they're going to follow Elly De La Cruz's career now more so than ever moving forward, because they got to see it up close and personal. We've talked about this in the past. I've said Joey Votto. Joey Votto, a major star in Cincinnati. But imagine if Yankee fans tuned into Yankees-Reds to watch their Yankees, but then they see a star in Joey Votto. Joey Votto is now not just a star in the 513. He is a star everywhere outside of Cincinnati as well. And I think that this is the most underrated rule change of all of the rule changes. And I sat back, watched the Reds and Yankees last night, and I just think it's so cool that every year moving forward, whether it's at GABP or at the new Yankee Stadium, that Reds-Yankees, we get to look forward to that matchup every year. That's the one I voted for, was that every team plays everybody. Jimmy, which one did you vote for? And where are you with that pitch clock? Is that what you voted for? Where are you with this?
No, I voted for the same one that you did, playing every team in the MLB. I think over the years I kind of just got sick of watching my favorite team play however many, 40 games it felt like, against every team in their division. The NL gets a DH one wasn't huge for me, because my favorite team was in the American League, so they've kind of always had the DH, so I never really felt a strong pull towards that one. The pitch clock, I personally liked watching long baseball games, especially when I was at the game. I feel like the pitch clock has kind of taken away some of the experience of being at the ballpark. On TV, I think it's been good. It just saves time at home, but so I didn't want to vote for that one. And then the extra innings runner, I just I don't really like it, because I feel like more often than not people are complaining about losing on the extra innings runner. So I didn't vote for that one either. But I like being able to watch the Tigers and the Reds here play against teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. Now, more often than not, they lose to teams like that, but it's still cool to see them play in those big market cities compared to seeing them go play in Pittsburgh or in Kansas City. More, it felt like every single week. So yeah, I voted for playing every team in the MLB.
Casey, what about you? And I will say too, real quick on this, I think all those rule changes have actually benefited baseball. I know some people the most. I'm not surprised that the least amount of votes was the ghost runner on second and extra innings. But I mean, I will say this, that if I miss a Reds game, but I see that they go into extra innings, I do feel more inclined to stop what I'm doing, to run to go to watch the game or listen to the game, because, oh man, like right away that game's starting, or that inning is starting with the runner in scoring position. So I think it grabs more people's attention than what people want to give it credit for, but it's too shticky for me. So that's why I don't like it, but I do think it does increase the urgency right off the bat as far as that's concerned. But I do like all of them, but for me, it's the MLB teams playing in every ballpark every year or every other year. That was mine. What'd you vote for?
I voted for pitch clock mainly because I would consider myself a more casual fan of baseball.
Okay.
If you can speed up the game for me, that does wonders for me. But that being said, I do think it had enough significance to the game itself to where you can't just sit back there and calculate and just kind of go through the motions of your pitch. You got to be consistent. You got to get through it. You got to go. You can't just wait for a minute and then pitch again, just taking your time, causing the batter to just sit up there and wait all day. So I think that actually does help and affect the game minorly, but it does affect it in a way to where I think it has had a positive impact, at least maybe on the batting side, maybe not so much pitching. But I like every rule change, to be honest with you. I like playing every team in the MLB because I like seeing all the teams. I like having an extra innings runner. I think that really helps out, especially when games do go into extra innings. It just makes it to where it can be quicker. There's more scoring that happens, makes it more exciting. But my favorite's pitch clock.
All right, Mr. Elliott, what you got?
Pitch clock is mine. I was wrong about pitch clock. I was against pitch.
Too.
I was against pitch clock hard at the beginning because it's almost like, why even play the sport if we're worried so much about ending the game so soon? Nobody goes to watch sporting events thinking about, all right, when's this going to end? Oh, I just got here, ballpark, just got a hot dog, got to my seat. All right, is it over yet? Nobody does that, and nobody should do that. Otherwise, you shouldn't be watching the sport. That was my initial opinion. Saying that, I think you take a look at what it's done for baseball, and it's increased, without a doubt, the attendance in stadiums. It's increased people watching the games at home. It's made baseball a better product. And I think what Casey was describing there, and you could do this when pitchers could take 35, 45 seconds before each pitch, 2 minutes before each pitch, and they would just sit there and gather yourself. It makes the game, I feel like, more level, and it makes it more fun. You say the extra inning rule is too gimmicky for you. This is my argument against it, and I say it every single time I hear somebody against the extra inning rule, the magic runner rule. If you get to the 17th inning and it's Luke Maile versus Wilson Valdez pitching, that's so much more gimmicky than just pitching with your best pitchers and having a guy on second base. My only critique of it would be is if it would not start in the 10th inning, it would start like in the 14th inning. You can maybe push that back so you could play real baseball for a couple more innings and say, we can play real baseball for 3 more innings. And then once we start exhausting our pitching staffs and we have to start throwing in position players to pitch, it's no longer baseball when it reaches that point. So you might as well have the extra inning magic runner rule in place. That was my argument for that. I just had to give my piece there. But yeah, the pitch clock has, I'm not going to say it's saved baseball, but similar, I feel like, to that steroid era in the 90s, it's getting more people to watch.
Yeah, and I was against the pitch clock thing too initially. I remember we had Marty on one time, and I thought for sure Marty would be against it. But Marty was all for it. But I made the argument of, man, when my favorite movie comes out, or a movie that I'm really excited to see, I'm not going to the movie theater saying, man, I hope this is only a 45-minute movie. I don't want to be here very long. But if you look at the average amount of time, if you look at the average length of movies from the 90s to the 2000s, 10s, and to now, the average length of movies has increased by 20 minutes from the 90s to now. So if the content's good and these movies, they're making, you know what I mean? So to me, that was my argument for why I felt if the content's good, the length of the content's not going to matter.
100%.
So that's why I argued against it. But I was wrong, and I'm glad we were on the same side on that and are both at least admitting that, hey, clearly the results don't lie because it has led to that as far as that's concerned.
You've been to a game since this started, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so much better. It is legitimately so. It's night and day.
I hate it.
You hate it?
Oh, I hate it when I go to games. I love it when I'm watching on TV. It's shorter. That's
how
fine.
I
I
am.
despise it when I go to games.
See,
so you hate it now.
I hate it at games. I understand that it grows baseball or whatever. Personally, I like watching baseball. So when I go to a game, if it's three and a half hours, I love that. That's
the best.
And much less when I buy a $5 ticket in the 400s and sit on the first baseline and I have to move, I miss 3 innings now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I go get a beer on $3 Tuesdays, the line's around the corner, I miss 4 batters.
Well,
Used to be able to do that during.
you shouldn't be drinking.
See, but that's part of the
Maybe you
baseball
have a
lore.
problem.
See, we don't need to do that. We don't need to have that conversation.
Well, I need my beer.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I like going to sporting events. I like when NFL games are long. I think it's nice to have the time to go up and go in and get a drink, get some food, talk to some people, walk around the concourse.
From that perspective,
watching it at home being shorter is fine, and I like that it's grown the game. Again, I love baseball, so I'm glad baseball is not dying anymore, which is a huge positive. But personally, at games, I hate it, and also. It's probably not fair to blame the pitch clock, but of the top 10 guys in average fastball velocity, 8 of them have gone on the IL this year with UCLs. And the only material change in pitching over the last couple of years, sure, doing away with spider tack, we can see how many people might have been using that. But also the pitch clock, you're asking these guys to speed up. I think it does have something to do with these injuries.
I watched an interview with John Smoltz the other day, and he was just pissed. He was beyond furious about this. And Greg Maddux has said the same thing. Some of the guys I grew up watching pitch, and they're just adamant that the increase in injuries and derailing these arms is because of, just the tempo of play. It's also I have to go back and rewatch it too. It's very interesting. They were also saying analytics is why the injuries are up too. But I was like, hey, I don't know if that makes sense, but any reason to crap on advanced analytics, I'm all for it as far as that's concerned. But look, at the end of the day, I think all those changes are good for baseball. And I know that runner on second in extra innings, it's even cooler when you have Elly De La Cruz.
Correct.
You could put on second.
It's true.
If the Reds ever do get their stuff together and get to the playoffs and they find themselves in those extra inning games, man, advantage Reds when you could put Elly on second base in an extra inning playoff game or any game, but especially when the stakes are higher come the postseason, no doubt about it. So you answer, right? What was yours?
I voted for the DH. I think
DH.
removing an automatic out in the lineup was the best for me. I think it was stupid for all those years that the 2 leagues in the same league played by different rules.
See,
that's ridiculous.
Oh, no doubt.
So yeah, I'm glad the DH was in. I thought walking someone up hitting a $110 was the dumbest thing in the world, but the Reds continue to do it with the DH. So I guess it wasn't the worst.
Do you think teams use the DH correctly? Because I thought this idea, I thought this DH would save Joey Votto's run in Cincinnati, and it didn't. But I think the
teams that win use the DH correctly.
Do the Reds? Let me ask you.
No.
Do the Reds?
No.
We haven't had a DH.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, Jeimer Candelario, when he can get into his role, is the DH that we wanted.
It's crazy we haven't had a power hitter here. I feel like since Eugenio?
Yeah, he had 40 home runs.
So I feel.
49.
It was just
49.
we just haven't had that DH guy yet play here. Joey Votto tried to be that, but he just wasn't.
Especially because that was the big thing too. I thought that it lined up perfectly with the back end of Votto's career. I'm like, oh, then it's going to be a perfect fit for him. Keep him off the field, just do what he does best, which is hit. Which, of course, he was back at it last night. We'll have that coming up later on in the show as well. But we do have Elliot's headlines coming up. If you're just tuning in, it's Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Justin Kinner, we got Jimmy, we got Casey, we got Elliot, we got Jacob. We got the full round table of guys hanging out with you here on a Wednesday, our Friday. That is the most important thing. Wednesday, but our Friday here on this 4th of July week. We'll be right back. Elliot's headlines next. And welcome back. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Justin Kinner, Jimmy Casey, Elliot Jacob with you here. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. Casey, did we get a super chat from our guy, Drew
We have
Garrison?
2 super chats.
Two super chats. Let's get to the super chat. By the way, the super chats for the radio listeners, you could watch this show every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. Okay, we appreciate you listening on radio, but if you want to watch the show, interact with the show, have fun with us in the morning from 10 to noon, go to YouTube, subscribe to Chatterbox Sports, become a member, all right? Become a member. We'd love that too. But you could watch the show and interact. Super chats, Of course, we always interact with those right off the bat. So give us a couple of our super chats, Casey.
Let's start with Justin Edgel. He's been a member of Nutcutter Nation for 9 months. My baby's name is Chiba W. Chronic. Smoke heavily this holiday weekend, fellas.
So no question, just delivering a message.
Yep.
Yes.
Just delivering a message.
message.
I like that inspiration.
Yep.
I like that inspiration right there.
And then Drew Garrison with a $5 super chat says, what Dayton area barbershop does Kenner go to?
No free ads.
So no free ads, but I also have to be careful. Like, are we ripping it? I mean, I wore a hat this morning and I took the hat off. If we're ripping my barber, I'm not going to throw his name out there and have him get. I
think it's a good fresh fade.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, he does a great job with the fade.
Look good.
All right, it's on 3rd Street in Dayton. So just look up barbershops on 3rd Street in Dayton since we don't do the no free ads thing. But yeah, shout out to Devontae. He does a great job. So just throwing that out there.
I might have to go there.
Might have to go. Have you always had the luscious long hair over there?
Yeah, I have. I've always kept it. I try to keep it in a hat because what I do on the show, I've noticed, I do this a lot. I touch the hair too much, and it freaks me out. So I try to do like half week with hat, half week without hat, just because it calms my little OCD syndrome over here. But yeah, I have always had the long hair.
I tried the long hair, but then it just curls. Then I look like this guy over here. Nothing wrong with that, but I could tell you all are young and in your 20s.
It's the first time I've ever had long hair.
You gotta have a certain swagger over there.
You do.
When he came here, I've seen the pictures of his Instagram. He was always short hair up until he got here.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't recognize him as originally like your YouTube and Twitter, everything else. I didn't recognize you in that picture.
Yeah, it was my headshot.
You used to have some more pounds on you.
Buzz cut and about 60 pounds heavier.
Well, you're an offensive lineman for Nick Saban in Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they needed me on the scout team.
I think Drew Garrison also wanted to know what was on Casey's hat.
My hat?
Yeah.
It is.
It's very hard to tell what it is, he said.
It's the FC logo. I don't know if you can see that. But it's,
the FC crest.
Yeah. Sorry, crest. It's the FC crest.
My take is that he did not ask in good faith. I think he wanted to ask so that you would do that to set up these two. That's my guess.
Probably.
And I played into it, so
okay.
I apologize.
How many of those hats do you think have been sold?
That one.
Yeah.
They actually have some pretty sweet hats. They really do. But
I like when they wear scarves.
If I get 40
During
in
summer.
1,000-degree heat, they're scarfed up.
I don't think they're wearing scarves.
I saw scarves when we did
I
Man on
saw
the Street.
I saw scarves.
People wear scarves, yeah. Because they do the thing before the match where everyone holds them up like this.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because you can't have them on your neck. It's 100 degrees.
They might be like, someone take this.
Yeah, someone please get rid of the scarf. It's the middle of June.
The look of just heartbreak on his face when you guys do this. Like,
Casey, when are they home again? Next week?
We don't know. I'm gonna let me save you. Let me say.
They probably take a 3-week break.
Let me save you the time, Jim, and say we don't know.
Golly, man.
Wow, you guys are mean.
Do you know?
I want to say it's next week.
He wants to say.
All right.
want to
Let
say.
me
Can't
look.
do it, though.
Let me look.
Fact
you
check.
have to renounce your FCC fandom if this isn't right.
Hey, you're upsetting some of the folks. Who
But if he is right, you have
Saturday. It's this Saturday.
We are.
But if he is right, you have to go to the match.
But that's not at home.
Yes, it's this Saturday at home.
Oh, it's Inter Miami.
It's Inter Miami.
Is he playing?
No.
Is it going to get messy in there?
He's definitely not playing.
He's not.
Keep it clean, baby.
I'm not taking their shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
well
that.
done. Well done. All right. It's now time for Elliot's headlines.
Elliot loves three things: Joey Votto, David Bell, and leading off the bench with top headlines.
Uh-oh, it's headlines time, which means I'm going to recap the Reds game that we already recapped. I already typed it up, so I'm not going to waste it. The Reds won yesterday. First game of the series, jumped out to a 5-0 lead, held on. 5-4 is your final. Graham Ashcraft, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. He only struck out 3, but hey, it was a fine outing from Graham Ashcraft. Bullpen, for the most part, did their job. Sam Moll, I think, threw up a little meatball, but outside of that, Fernando Cruz and Alexis Diaz, as Jacob pointed out, closed down the door. Diaz with his 18th save of the season. The Reds' offense boosted by a 114-mile-per-hour right-handed Elly De La Cruz home run, as well as a Will Benson home run. Will Benson appears to maybe be back. Maybe.
He's hitting what? $195?
$195. He's almost at Mendoza.
Watch out, Mendoza.
Elly went 2 for 5, adding a triple as well, 2 RBIs. Elly has 22 hits in his last 15 games. He's hitting .355 over that span with a .758 slugging percentage. He has crossed the plate 13 times during this 15-game stretch. Candelario, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Spencer Steer got on base twice via a walk and a double, bringing home a run as well. Aaron Judge, as I mentioned, 3 for 4 with a home run. Guy doesn't stop. They are back at it tonight, 7:05. Abbott, Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon has allowed 20 runs in his last 3 starts. 8, 7, and 5. He has allowed 20 runs in his last 3 starts. Surely that means good things for the Cincinnati Reds. Abbott has a 3.4 ERA and 72 strikeouts on the year. Look around the league. The Dodgers won 6-5 over the Diamondbacks. They were down to their final strike last night, but Teoscar Hernandez brought home the game-winning run to walk off the Snakes in the 9th. Athletics beat the Angels 7-5. Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler each hit home runs to give them the victory. Orioles blanked the Mariners 2-0. Grayson Rodriguez is now 10-3 on the year. 6 1/3 innings, striking out 8, only allowing 2 hits for Grayson Rodriguez. Brewers, they beat the Rockies 4-3. Rhys Hoskins was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in the 9th for the game-winning run in Coors Field. Tough way to lose. That's now the second time the Rockies have lost that way, I think, in the span of 2 weeks. The Brewers have also acquired, this is the first trade deadline trade of the year. The Brewers have acquired a decent pitcher. Aaron Savali is heading to Milwaukee for infielder Gregory Barrios. Aaron Savali does have a 5 ERA on the year, but Jacob and I were talking about it before the show. He plays in quite literally the hardest division I've ever seen in baseball. Home Run Derby division. So I'm sure he will torch the NL Central. Wait till he faces Espinal 4 times a day. Rays take care of the Royals 5-1. Bobby Witt Jr.'s home run, not enough. Rangers shut out the Padres 7-0. Nathan Eovaldi goes 7 innings, only allowing a hit, striking out 6. The Cubs tried to come back. They tried their best, but they didn't. Phillies win 6-4. Trey Turner homered twice, including one that left the ballpark. He hit one out of Wrigley Field last night. Cubs have lost 7 of 9. Wah, wah. Reed, thoughts? Moving on. Twins beat the Tigers 5-3 as they extend their home run streak to 20. They've hit a home run in 20 straight games. They beat the Tigers yesterday 5-3. Jim, your thoughts?
I don't think the Tigers have hit 20 home runs since I started interning here.
Damn.
From the top rope.
Tough.
He's quiet. He just comes right in.
I don't know. It's what's
Season over, Jim?
Yeah.
Season over? All right. Just want to make sure. Giants, they shocked the Braves 5-3 the final. 3 home runs. Soler, Wade, and Ramos all hit home runs to give them the win over Atlanta. By the way, Soler and Wade did go back-to-back. I love a good back-to-back jacks. Blue Jays, they hang on to beat the Astros 7-6. George Springer hit a 3-run blast. Horwitz added a solo shot as well. The Mets destroyed the Nationals 7-2. Sean Manaea, 7 innings, allowing only 1 earned run. Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso both hit home runs. Pete Alonso, future Red?
That'd be very cool.
Would be very cool.
It would require
if
you
the
know
Reds
who to spend some money.
If the Reds traded for current players, it's all about the future, all about the prospects.
That's true. If you could flip Jonathan India for Pete Alonso, I'd sign up.
The future is what matters, Kinner.
It's all about
That's what they said back in 2006 when they bought the team.
What are we, 9-10 years away?
Yeah, 15. Cardinals beat the Pirates 7-4. Nolan Gorman's grand slam pretty much sealed the deal. Guardians take out the trash against the White Sox 7-6. The final score. But Luis Robert hit another home run for the White Sox. Good for him. The Copas, they're still playing, I guess. Brazil and Colombia tied at 1-1. Colombia wins Group D and will take on Panama. Costa Rica beat Paraguay 2-1. Did that one matter? Paraguay, Costa Rica, Jim?
No.
Okay.
Cool. I mean, the U.S. are out now, so.
Well, I was just saying, did it matter for any of those two?
The only teams that are worth watching would be Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil.
All right, Brazil takes on Uruguay at some point, sometime during the season.
Those are about the only ones.
WNBA, the Chicago Sky won 85-77. Angel Reese has recorded her 11th straight double-double, 12 points, 19 rebounds.
She's a beast.
Those. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'll mention this because I can. Wimbledon has started up. So I'm going to read you some scores from yesterday. Will you know their names? Nope, but I'm going to read them anyway.
Oh, I have someone in this.
Some guy named Echeverry. Echeverry beat Nardi in 3 sets. Mapechi Pericard beat Korda the American, in 5 sets. Darderi beat Choinsky in 5 sets. Nishioka won in 4 sets against Borges. Munar beat Harris in 4. Seabith Wild beat Jubb in 5. We have D. Manure beat Duckworth, James Duckworth, in 3 sets. And then that's pretty much all I really cared about here.
12:25.
And Zverev won as well in 3 sets.
12:25 today. Yannick Sinner takes the court for the second round.
Really?
That's my guy. I am a sinner who's probably going to sin again. Lord forgive me.
Do you have a bet on him to win
the whole
thing?
The whole GD thing.
What'd you get him at?
I don't even know. I placed it a while ago.
Fair.
When he won the last one, I took him to win Wimbledon.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I operate tennis betting.
I thought I heard a baby crying. It really confused me.
Yeah, it was probably you about Amari Cooper.
It was, damn it. That's like a whole couple segments from now. You know? And this chair's just going to be, at one point, when the camera pans back over, this chair's just going to be spinning empty. And then the crowd will go wild. Couple other things to add to this, too. How about this? Bronny James. Bronny James signing a multi-year guaranteed rookie contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. Just when you thought nepotism was dead, it comes back to life. The number 55 pick in the 2024 NBA draft will start his NBA career on the Lakers roster. Doesn't even need to prove himself in Summer League. Doesn't even need to prove himself in an actual practice. Doesn't even need to prove himself in preseason. He is automatically going to be a Los Angeles Laker. He doesn't have to do a damn thing other than, well, just say who his daddy is.
JJ Redick and Rob Pelinka said yesterday that he earned it.
Did
and
they say that?
He deserved the
Did
spot.
he earn it?
So, yeah, that was a direct quote.
That's what they said?
Direct quote.
It's cute.
He said he never even thought about playing with his dad. He just wanted to get to the NBA.
Just woke up one day and you're my teammate.
Oh, no way.
You know what they say about the last man on the roster? They always make a big difference. So I'm sure Bronny James is going to make a big impact.
Bronny James, the Stuart Fairchild of the Lakers?
Maybe. I guess. It could be. If LeBron goes down, it's going to have to be Bronny to take
Bronny every day.
And then there'll be a radio host in that city for the big one that will just absolutely hate the production of the last guy on the bench. You know, just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. But what were you gonna say, Elliot?
I was just pointing out that, I mean, do you want a player that you know at the end of the bench, or do you want a player that you don't know at the end of the bench? Both, by the way, both players won't actually play. Which one would you rather have? So I know who I'd rather have.
So this is no big deal. This is just no big deal.
No.
It's just wild. That's all.
Is Kyle Guy available?
If you go on the wild meter, this is like all the way on the left.
All of the people, and I'm definitely not saying you two, but all the people that were, Caitlin Clark needs to earn it. She can't be the best player. She can't be promoted everywhere. She has to earn it. Those same people are perfectly fine with Bronny James being at the end of the bench. It's wild. Not you guys.
I don't know how this is a big deal at all.
I don't care one bit.
He's the 55th draft pick. Those guys never contribute, much less.
But that's the thing. But I guarantee you, go find me any of the other late second-round draft picks that have just been automatically put on the active roster. Like
I bet a couple of them will be on.
Prove it. Find them.
Have they all signed contracts yet?
That's the thing.
We'll see.
I read the list of those of that 55th round pick. There were 3 notable names. 3 in the since 2000, 24 years.
They didn't have popular daddies though.
True.
That's
True.
the problem. So, nonetheless, all right. Let's see. Oh, this one, Riley Leonard has been named a Heisman contender by Phil Steele. How about that?
Let's go.
What are you doing over there?
I was drinking something.
But no, yeah, Phil Steele from Phil Steele's College Football Magazine, of course, put out that Riley Leonard has been named a Heisman contender. Keep an eye out on him. Are you a Riley Leonard guy?
I think Riley Leonard is better than Sam Hartman for Notre Dame trying to actually win something. So I think they're going to be better this year than they were last year. And it's an easier schedule.
Yeah, easier schedule. I mean, I don't know. I think had Riley Leonard come in last year, it might have been a little better for us, just the way that the type of offense that Notre Dame ran last year. Compared to the type of offense that Sam Hartman ran at Wake Forest. And what was the competition that Riley Leonard recently won?
Manning Passing Academy.
Yes. Yeah, he won something there, so I can understand why people get excited. I don't really read too much into that.
He's a good player. He's a great good player. Yeah, there's no way around that.
Good player. Hopefully he can win us 11 or 12 games, and we can host a playoff game. That's really all I want.
Riley Leonard or Quinn Ewers?
Oh, I think Riley Leonard's better.
I hate Quinn Ewers.
You like Riley Leonard more than Quinn Ewers?
Not NFL-wise, but
Just
for
overall.
college this year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Quinn Ewers.
Texas also has one of the best rosters in college football, so
That should help them like
bolster
last
Quinn
year.
Ewers.
All right, off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, Justin Kinner, Jimmy, Casey, Elliott, and Jacob holding it down here on this Wednesday, which is our Friday. But we're going to talk a little Cincinnati Bengals coming up around the corner. Yesterday, we had a chance to catch up with Pro Football Network's Jay Morrison, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals. And we were talking about how loud the offseason started for the Bengals and how much it has quieted down heading into the season, which is a great thing. But there was one comment that he made throughout that definitely had everyone in here kind of perk up and has people at home perking up as well. We'll have that clip for you around the corner involving the potential health of Joe Burrow. We have that coming up next off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. And we are back. It's our last show before we head into the 4th of July break. And I know there's some, going to be some, there will be some live programming, correct? On Chatterbox in the coming days.
Not live. It will be
but
programmed.
there'll be some content.
There will be content
that'll be
out,
coming
yes.
out over the coming days. Okay, cool. So, what?
Jimmy's feeling it today, man. Jimmy is feeling it today. This is the first day Jimmy's felt it since joining us. Yeah, he's on one today.
This is the most energy you've ever had.
He goes, I got the chair pulled up, and then you're like, that's what it's been this whole time? Yeah. The chair hasn't been pulled up. But he said, yeah, there is.
He's very excited.
There will be good content.
He's very excited to release the pickleball video. If for those of you who don't know, we played pickleball yesterday.
I think we should get in front of this one a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. So yesterday we played out pickleball during the middle of the day. Yes, it was a work day, and yes, we filmed it. So we filmed it all work. 2 hours. It's work. 2 hours we were out there in the heat.
It was hot.
I had not drank or eaten anything all day.
Nobody
else has either. It was a miserable experience, and here's what cemented it. Nobody knew the rules of pickleball. I have never played before. I was banking on one of these three people.
We also needed a ref.
Yes,
correct.
We knew the rules. We knew the rules. We needed a ref.
didn't?
We needed a ref.
You did not know
We knew the rules. We missed a lot of calls.
We missed
because
a
we
lot
were
of
focused
calls
on winning rather than enforcing the rules.
To be fair, when I hit you with a serve and then Jacob screamed at me,
We did that right.
You did.
You
I
reserved
did.
it.
I did it right. You said
You wanted the point.
We're
We're not doing this on the show.
Yeah, but
We're not doing this on the show.
You screamed at you. He just said you knew the rules when you very much didn't know the rule.
We're not doing this on the show.
Is it true or not?
I got it right.
He didn't get it right.
He did not get it
So
right.
we got into a big fight yesterday, and that will be released at some point later this week, which would probably be Friday. So that's what you have to look forward to when we all just yell at each other.
Never
It's a good
played
video.
It was mostly Elliott yelling at Casey.
That is the vast majority.
It was Casey and myself versus Jimmy and Jacob. And yeah, my teammate let me down a couple times.
We
and
might
I
have
had to
kept
let him
score
know.
My
wrong at
teammate
one
also
point.
let me down a couple of times. Let's not
Yeah,
get
but my times
confused
weren't
here.
as egregious. Your times were.
No,
egregious.
yours were very egregious. You kept doing the same mistake over and
Casey
over again.
Casey sent a bunch of texts last night. He was
Did he?
looking
Did
at
he
some
send a lot of texts last
Screenshots
night?
while editing the.
He looked at some of the highlights, and Casey had an issue where anytime the ball was in the air, no matter how far out of bounds it was going, he was going to hit it. That was his issue.
You went for it too, but you missed it because you're too small.
I'm too what?
You're too small.
Too short? That's
Yeah.
fine. A short joke from Casey at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. we got a short joke. But yeah, so we didn't know the rules of pickleball. Pickleball's a dumb game.
I have no experience with pickleball, but I've heard that it's like the fastest growing. Is it sport? Right? We call
Yeah.
it sport.
Yeah.
Activity, sport.
It's
Okay.
fun. I enjoy it.
Interesting.
And
I'm not knocking it.
Beersby is
fun.
much better.
You guys talked
We
about
had a
how
great
hot
time.
it was, but if you only had a scarf to cool you down, that's what the
True.
problem
If I
was.
could
You're
hold it
right.
up and cheer and
Yeah.
sing songs, it would have cooled me down a
Ole,
lot.
ole, ole, ole.
All right.
That's it.
Ole, ole. All right, yesterday, Jay Morrison, Pro Football Network, covers your Cincinnati Bengals, came on the show to kind of give us a little bit of the state of the union of the Cincinnati Bengals as we sit here in early July because, well, what started out as a very loud offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals, all the stuff that went on with Hendrickson, of course, and then, of course, the T. Higgins contract dispute demanding the trade. You had two players, two key starters, not really demanding. Demanding is a very aggressive word, but they were requesting, right? Both had requested trades, not happy with the current situations with the Bengals. It looked as if it was going to get off to a very bumpy offseason, and it technically did. But kudos to the front office for the Bengals. They get all that stuff ironed out, and basically right now it's just kind of everyone sitting around staring at each other until training camp gets here. So, that's like a good thing for the Cincinnati Bengals. You don't want to have a loud off season. I'm a Browns fan. I know all about how loud off seasons can derail a season before it even starts. But the problem for the Bengals has not always been loud off seasons as far as contract disputes, this, that, and the other. A lot of their loud off-season stuff technically comes in the preseason when injuries kind of derail the excitement for the upcoming season because you don't have everyone ready to go and everyone out on the field to prepare for said upcoming season. And a lot of that has been because of complications with Joe Burrow's health, whether it be the appendectomy, whether it be the calf from last year. And then, of course, the calf, started to get a little better. And then more injuries came about with the wrist. And then he had season-ending surgery. And now we're told that, hey, everything's trending in the right direction, that Joe Burrow should be ready to go and ready to rock come this upcoming season, come training camp. But yesterday, talking with Jay Morrison, we knew there was some weird things kind of happening throughout OTAs, right? Like there was that week where all the media had showed up, but Joe Burrow was not out at practice at all. And then Zach Taylor had an unannounced press conference, which that is a big, from a media perspective, they are given a broken down itinerary of what to expect week by week, right? So to get an unannounced coaching press conference, that had everyone a little uneasy. Man, Joe Burrow's not at practice, right, at OTAs. Now you have an unannounced press conference from Zach Taylor. My goodness, they're about to announce something horrific, right? Nope, it was just Zach Taylor saying, my bad. They zigged when I zagged. I didn't know that we were giving him an off day. I thought the media was coming tomorrow, he said. But don't fear. Don't worry. Everything is A-okay. It's part of the process. We're going to give him some off days, which to me sounds smart. He is coming off surgery. You don't need to overdo it. I think OTAs are very overrated to begin with. I think the NFL putting these labels on these off-season programs kind of ridiculous because then we spend more time talking about Aaron Rodgers going to Argentina or wherever the hell he went instead of, handing the ball off for 4 days in the heat just so that photographers could take pictures and say that the team worked hard. I think it's ridiculous if you ask me. I don't really care about these things. But Jay Morrison had this to say during his visit on the show yesterday that definitely had all of us here in the studio. We all kind of perked up a bit because it sounds as if we're not really 100% sure what led to the Cincinnati Bengals giving Joe Burrow off days. Was it a plan or was it a pivot? Take a listen. Here's Jay Morrison.
The big question here is Burrow. I mean, he looked great early in the offseason. He was zipping the ball, great velocity. The accuracy was there that we've become accustomed to. And then it kind of dialed back, and he wasn't even throwing the ball at full speed in minicamp. And he talked about just trying to be smart with it and not force through anything like he did with the calf. Don't know if it's the wrist is bothering him, or if he is just being smart and seeing that the break was coming and he just kind of throttled down. And we'll see. It's going to be really interesting to see how he looks early in camp because, like I said, they haven't had all these guys together for a full camp. They need Joe Burrow out there throwing the ball the way he's capable of.
That was Jay Morrison yesterday off the bench, of course. And like I said, I thought I didn't make anything of it because I was like, yeah, they said that's the plan. But when you have Jay Morrison, who is as locked in, who has covered the Bengals for as long as he has, to say, man, we don't know if he throttled it back just because OTAs was wrapping up and there's no need to push too hard, especially, as you wrap it up, you want to have good vibes heading into the offseason. Don't know if it was that or if it was sore, and that's why he stopped throwing. I mean, because you heard him, guys. He said he was throwing the ball great velocity on his throws, great accuracy, and then they dialed it back, and then he wasn't even touching the football by the end. I didn't think this was a concern, but after hearing that clip on yesterday's show, I thought I was overreacting, but I think even you guys are like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like the best. It does sound like there is some uncertainty and there's not a whole lot of transparency as far as what the true status of the health of Joe Burrow actually is.
Right. I mean, that seemed to me more like Jay was calling it into question than saying that it wasn't healthy. He seemed to not really know, which seems to be a bigger problem in my opinion, because if he was truly healthy, they would be completely upfront about that. They would tell you every single time that he's out there throwing, and you get all the stats of how fast he's throwing the ball and the rotations per minute and everything like that. But we obviously haven't seen much of that. He's been taking the days off, which we were always told was part of the schedule. But yeah, that's the first time I've really thought about it otherwise, that it might be a bigger issue.
I don't take too much into it. I think I think they're playing their cards close to the vest. I think, not to draw comparisons to the Cincinnati Reds, if the Reds did stuff more like this, we would probably have less things to complain about this season. So no, I don't write too much into it. Joe Burrow came out in his press conference a couple weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it was. Came out and said that he's going to try things differently. He's not rushing back. He's going to take his time. But saying that if he's not able to be the quarterback that he was, if the velocity and the accuracy, if everything is going to be affected by said wrist, then yeah, obviously we have something to concern about. I'm not ready to write too much into that whatsoever.
So real quick with that, when you talk about the Bengals, I'm going to get to Casey and Jimmy. They're taking a moment. But like the PR, we talked about, look, the Reds have bad PR. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
We saw that on full display with Noelvi Marte, right? In a completely different situation, but like it was just wild that he was able to go address the media for the first time after an 80-game suspension and just sound as if he's just talking off the cuff without being coached up on anything, which was just wild to me. But with the Bengals, they are being coached up on what to say, which is why I don't believe anything that they say to begin with. When you're being coached up, it's to try to basically die down any kind of reaction. Which is why I have a hard time believing that Joe Burrow from one season, who could barely walk, you're going to have to rip me off this field. I mean, he's pissed off when they take him out of games or talk about it, this, that, the other, which I respect. I have no problem with that, right? We saw Patrick Mahomes slam his helmet and yell the F word in that little clip when they pulled him out of that game against the Jaguars, that game or whatever. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, most athletes, like I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. Who was the pitcher that threw it? Hunter Green. And you guys were back and forth, you need to pull them. I think it was Reed that said, well, you got to take an athlete at their word. I disagreed with that only because athletes will always tell you that they're good to go. Athletes are always going to say, I'm good to go. You're going to have to like yank me off this field. You're going to have to handcuff me. You know what I mean? Like they're always going to say that they're good to go. Just like Joe Burrow said that last year. Is he learning from his errors last year and saying, hey, I'm going to, take my time with this? Or is it, he's not taking his time. He's limited and can't actually go at full speed. I don't know, but I know what you're saying. I know what the Bengals say. For me, I never believe team statements. I just don't. They're all they have a PR department that puts these statements together to try to diffuse any kind of concern or backlash. That's why I'm not putting a lot in there. That's why that Jay Morrison clip popped out to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're right. And the Bengals, to their credit, have been very transparent over the years when it comes to stuff like this. Like last year, they were transparent. Joe Burrow's not 100%. He feels good. He feels like he can go. He's going to go out and give it a shot. The Bengals have earned that trust with their fans, at least from that standpoint. So I'll give them that and meet them halfway. But overall, I never believe a team statement, a PR statement regarding the handling of a situation, especially one as big as this, when it comes to their franchise quarterback.
I agree. And the other thing is, too, it's you mentioned the Hunter Green situation. It comes down to, and I think Reed and Jacob kind of made this point as well, it's trust with the player, too. So you're trusting that player. Has he earned the respect that you're going to take him at his word that he's ready to go? And if he says he's ready to go, he's doing things differently, he's taking his time, then I'm going to trust Joe Burrow. Because, by God, if anybody has earned it in this city, Joe Burrow has earned the right to pretty much take his time, be slow with this recovery, be okay, not be okay, but he's going to take his time, be ready to go to start this season.
Like Christian Encarnacion Strand. Am I right, Jimmy?
That's right.
Am I right?
That's right.
But no, Jimmy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really read too much into it yet. I mean, it's obviously I know it's a concern with the injury history and with the, like we talked about, kind of the way that the Reds PR team has kind of downplayed injuries over the past couple of months. But I don't know. I don't read too much into it. I think if it were a bigger problem, then we probably would have heard about it before this. And I feel like he's thrown the ball well. He's looked good in camp from what we've seen at OTAs. I wouldn't really waste too much time in July.
Jimmy, you don't understand how this content thing works, do you? You got to panic. Everybody panics.
No,
Joe
don't
Burrow's
panic.
wrist amputation.
He's going to be fine.
Might retire early. What the hell, Jimmy? I mean, Andrew Luck-esque. I mean, right? Like, we have to be concerned. Come on. It's July.
Yeah, it is July.
Cool comic. I like Jimmy's approach. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. And I promise you're not worried. But, it's just with the uncertainty, though, because of the injury history.
You're right.
It's like always something. And the thing is,
it's back there.
Oh, yeah. And like Casey, so this approach, okay, they didn't put a timeline on, okay, our approach to this is, we're going to give him some off days, this, that, the other. Well, off days. All right, we're talking back-to-back off days. Are we talking like into the preseason, into camp, into week one? Is this going to be a process all season? Will he, being ready to go week one and being back 100% are completely two different things. There's just so many moving parts, and I love when we talk Bengals because you get this, like, you lean in. Like, you get this look like you're ready to rock. So, number one Bengals fan in this room, are you concerned about what we heard from Jay Morrison yesterday when it comes to the wrist and the handling of this injury with your guy, Joey B?
I am not concerned about the wrist. What I am concerned about is whether or not we know if Joe Burrow sustains a different type of injury, whether or not him taking a day off there is because of the wrist, or is it because of just like I don't know, like he busted his pinky like last year or 2 years ago. And there's big concerns about that, whether he was going to be able to grip the football or not. It ended up being a nothing burger.
So small hands, right? Like,
yeah, small hands. But there's like different injuries that he's had throughout his career, like the calf injury, to where it's like, what are we going to know whether or not it's the wrist, or is it just him making sure that other body parts aren't deteriorating? Because if it ends up being the wrist and it's week 4 and he's missing practices, that's not good. That's not good at all. So I'm not hitting the panic button yet. I have a more overall broader concern about the outlook of his season coming up. But as of right now, I'm not concerned. Like, until we might know of other injuries that are kind of influencing whether or not he's sitting out or not, I'm not going to panic. I think they're going to do exactly what they're going to have a plan ready for him. He's going to have off days. We already know this. He's already said that he's going to take care of his body. But it's the other injuries that might pop up that I'm more concerned with.
So, and here's one more thing to be positive about, too. I think that they could put statements out and we could dissect those all we want. But the fact that T. Higgins signed that tender, if T. Higgins had any doubt that Joe Burrow's health would be a factor this upcoming season, or at least any concern, because this is such a big year for T. Higgins. Yes, he wants to contribute. Yes, he wants to play at a high level. Yes, he wants to win a Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow's the best opportunity for him to do that. But I do think that, he's not signing that tender just going into the season playing for any quarterback, because that quarterback, his production will depend how much he gets paid next season. It's a contract year for T, right, even though last year technically was, but this is the last year with the Bengals. He has to have a good year to go take advantage of that wide receiver market. So I don't think he's jumping quickly to sign that tender if he feels like Joe Burrow's health is truly being doubted at this point. Concerns, yes. Being a little cautious, yes. So there's a lot of ways to look at this, throwing out all the different ways to look at it. We'll see. It's July, but I do know if we're continuously having these same conversations come training camp, come preseason, then maybe that panic meter can pop up a bit. How was that? Was that a good Bengals take?
That was a good Bengals take. That was a great Bengals segment.
That was for Everett and all the other guys in the chat who were like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to hear these bad Bengals takes. Eat that, dude. Just saying.
Let's talk about the Browns.
All right, when we come back, we got this clock, Jimmy, clock management. Where are we at with this clock management?
Well over.
Well over.
I think we're over on all 3 today.
I think we are, but that's okay. We're going strong.
That is okay. Just grip it and rip it, dude.
That's right.
Grip it and rip it. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. More AFC North talk coming up, and then we'll get an NL Central wildcard update here in just a little bit. So I saw that a good friend of mine, Zim Houday, or whatever they call him, I'm not sure. He is not a friend of mine. We do not get along. Let's just be 100% clear, okay? I'm sure he's a great dude. You all like him. Him and I, we clash. That's totally fine. But he put out a tweet yesterday crying, all right, upset, because how come people aren't ripping the Browns for Amari Cooper not signing a deal, but they were ripping the Bengals? Because it's not the same thing. And I'll tell you why when we come back. Again, Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. We'll be right back.
All right, let's go ahead and do our ads, since we have not done those today. Let's shake things up a little bit. Some green piney water first. Made right here in Hamilton, Ohio.
Take a swig.
Uses natural limestone filtration,
Drink
unlike
it.
the artificial processing
Take a swig.
other brands use. Let me finish my ad read. The result being a healthy alkaline water.
Chug it.
The result being a healthy alkaline water.
If you loved it, you'd chug it.
So I'll just be very honest with everyone.
No.
Drink the water.
Just take a swig.
Drink the water.
Just take a swig.
Get.
I
Don't be
love
honest.
piney water. I'll do it for piney.
Yes.
Refreshing.
Just water in that bottle.
It just goes down the gullet nice and smoothly.
Yeah, that's what I can. Yeah.
Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNIwater.com. See where you can buy that great tasting water. Encore Technologies. They provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with the suite of services from home computing, desktop to data center, supporting both centralized work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
productivity.
That's right, Jimbo. Path to innovation begins here. Visit encore.tech. And we have a ticketing sponsor, Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Create an account. Use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. I know I've used Game Time many times. It's just 2 simple clicks. You get to see exactly where you're sitting at. They always have deals going on right now. They've got tickets for the Detroit Tigers team, that series coming up here in Cincinnati. I think that's like the 5th through the 7th or something like that. They've got deals going on for that. They got deals going on for Bengals tickets. Plenty of stuff going on around in Cincinnati, like the River Bend. You can go see Red Hot Chili Peppers and much, much more. Download Game Time today again. Create an account. Use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase.
Jimmy's birthday Sunday. We're going to be getting
right.
tickets off Game Time to go celebrate. Tigers losing to the Reds.
Yes. Who's going to get the cake, Jim? Are we responsible for the cake, or are you bringing the cake?
I don't really want a cake.
You don't
do you
like cake?
Not really.
Jimmy's a proud alcoholic just like me. We're just going to have a couple beers.
I'll buy you one of those beer bats.
Oh, that's the most interesting thing I've ever seen in the world because
Really?
it doesn't come with beer.
You have to buy
You
it
pay
separately?
$15 for the bat.
What?
And then you have to buy a can of beer to pour in there.
Oh, no.
It's like a $30 thing.
Are you serious?
no.
Yes.
They said, wow. I feel like
I'll tell you
It's
what.
insane.
I
You
know
know
the
what?
Castellinis might never win a game, but I'll tell you what.
They're great.
They'll be damned if they don't make a couple bucks.
They wring that
off,
towel
off
out.
some suckers.
All 7,500 people in that stadium.
You know who wouldn't do that? FC. You can buy a beer boot.
you can.
Yeah.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
How many beers fit in the boot?
A beer.
Das.
A beer fits in.
Das.
Yeah, but you can take it back with you and get it refilled and whatnot.
Dose
It's
boot.
great.
That's impressive.
It'll be fun Sunday, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Screwball's going to blow up. It'll be
Probably.
sick.
Yeah. Well, we lost yesterday, so hopefully he doesn't lose 2 in a row.
That wouldn't be good would it?
It's okay. We'll see. It'll be fun though. I'm excited.
Are you excited?
Very.
And all of that's made possible by the tickets we're going to get on Game Time.
On Game Time.
Game time.
And Elliot's going to be there in a great mood. Right?
What was that?
I hate Sundays.
What was that?
No, he's been
Hate
saying how he
mornings,
doesn't
hate
like going to Sunday
Sundays.
games.
I hate Sunday games.
If we
more than
cross
anything.
off all the things that Elliot hates on a Monday to Sunday week,
Ooh.
you're left with like
Yeah,
7 hours.
You wouldn't have a lot left. I don't like weekend games.
No.
I hate weekend games. They ruin the fun for me. A, it's too hot. B, it's too crowded. And C, it's just like, ugh.
I'm with you. I can't go to day
like
games.
7-10 weekday games. That's
Correct.
the only game time
and
you
there,
enjoy.
and that is my favorite thing to do on a weekend.
And even then, they start
agree.
out kind of hot.
Yeah.
Like
But I'm okay-
I'm a
but I can-
weeknight 5th inning and beyond.
But I can
type of
find
guy.
shade. I can find shade there. I can't find shade. So, like I went to the game a couple weeks ago
Sunday
on a
at
Sunday,
4:10.
and it was just like it's like I literally had to get up from my seat and go hide in the shade for 5 innings of those 9 inning game. It was
Freezing cold
crazy.
game or hot game? Which one can you tolerate more?
What is
like,
it?
Like if it's 20-something degrees or it's 90 degrees, which game is more insufferable for you?
Insufferable.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
90
Yeah.
degrees is 90 degrees.
I can't do the heat. I've always said I could
I can
warm
bundle up.
I could
Yeah.
warm
Cold
up.
is nice because you can
I
throw on
can't-
like a
I can't cool
jacket,
down.
a jersey, like a winter hat maybe.
That's why I like winter scarves.
Oh. You wear scarves?
My opinion is always no. My opinion has always been that you can always add more clothes on, but you can't take your clothes off, all of them.
Well,
You can. You get you one time.
someone's quarterback.
One time. You know? Wait, who took their clothes off? What?
Who's your quarterback?
Oh my.
Elliot? Anything?
Nope. I'm on suspension until the season starts. Then I'll ramp it back up.
You always left me satisfied. It's like, clip from The Office, dude. Anyways.
Back to radio.
Yeah. So we got all the reads in. We're good to go.
So we're going to do 5 seconds of silence.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome back. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Justin Kinner, Jimmy, Casey, Elliott, and Jacob with you here. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. So we've talked all AFC North, NFL. We're good, right? We've got through it all the
Yeah,
NFL
we're good
stuff.
unless you want to take a crazy spin zone here.
It's not a spin zone. In fact, nobody will be dizzy. That's how
I'm already
spin
dizzy.
zone it is. It's not.
I got that email last night and I started spinning.
You spinning, really? Huh. So let me quick, like, Zimmy Houday. I have we clash on social media. He's come on this show before, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Many
Yes.
times.
Many
Okay.
times.
Look, what people need to understand, and I have no clue the history with him in this show, this, that, and the other. Like, when one person says something, it's like a disclaimer. Like, if Elliott says something really crazy, it is not a representation of everybody.
No.
Not
everyone in the room
It
said
just
that.
isn't, you know? So, like, same thing here. I'm sorry, dude. But whatever opinion I have, I don't need to put out a disclaimer to say that if I say something, it doesn't make Casey agree or that Casey shares that opinion. So let's just stop getting everyone's feelings hurt around here, because we're gonna have to toughen up if we're gonna all hang out and do this thing into the fall.
That's true.
All right, we all need to toughen up. All right. I'm going to bring my takes. Everyone has their takes, and then we're all going to get along. Otherwise, this becomes like we're talking politics. Like, you got to think like me, or I want nothing to do with you, or I can't be around you. And that's a toxic thing. So now I'm going to convince you guys all to think like me. Otherwise, I'm going to get the hell out of here. It's as simple as that.
That's easy enough.
So we all know what's going on in Cleveland. Amari Cooper, an active holdout, not happy. He's heading into the final year of his contract, and he's sitting back, being very quiet, because he's a very quiet personality, but he's watching these wide receivers get paid. And he's doing a lot of great things in Cleveland with all the turmoil, with all the chaos. I've said before that it's very unfortunate that for an organization like the Browns, they've had some of their best stand-up human beings be their best players, but they're overshadowed by all the chaos and noise that is the Deshaun Watson hurricane that has basically overshadowed any of the good, right? Even when Joe Flacco comes in last year and is one of the best storylines in football, people don't want to talk about that. It's, keep that bum Deshaun Watson away. Like, Deshaun has ruined what has really been a fun run in Cleveland over the last couple of years. They have good stand-up guys. Deshaun has made bad decisions off the field, and that's all anyone focuses on, and I'm not here to defend that. That's the reality of it, and it's hard to defend him, and I'm not going to. But, like, Amari Cooper's been one of those stand-up, face-of-the-franchise type guys, but at the same time, you have to make good business decisions. I'm consistent on this. I know Browns fans piled all over me. They hated me when I said, hey, Nick Chubb, I appreciate everything you did. But a running back coming off of another major injury, I'm not going to give him that contract that everyone wanted the Browns to give him. And I said, look, they lost him in week 2 last year. They were a top 10 rushing team in football last year from week 3 all the way through the playoffs. They could run the football. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. They could run the football. Are they as good a running team without Nick Chubb? No. But if you look around the NFL, name an elite quarterback that has an elite running back. You don't need it. There's a reason that the 49ers invested into Christian McCaffrey, because you don't have an elite quarterback. There's a reason that the Ravens invested in to Derrick Henry, because you have a running back and quarterback. And I like Lamar Jackson, but let's just be real. Like, if he was Joe Burrow, like, the reason that the Cincinnati Bengals, the reason that the Cincinnati Bengals didn't go all out, all right, and go get an elite running back is because you have Joe Burrow and the elite passing game weapons. You don't need him. Okay, so I'm saying all of this to say I know how valuable Amari Cooper is and Nick Chubb is as human beings and as great people and as great stars. But at some point, good business decisions have to be made. And the Cleveland Browns made a good business decision with Nick Chubb when they restructured the contract to bring him back. They didn't bring him back, all right, with paying him out the wazoo. They had to restructure the deal to bring him back. That's what they did. And as far as Amari Cooper's concerned, back-to-back 1,000-yard wide receiving seasons, all this stuff, of course, even with all the turmoil at quarterback, why wouldn't you bring him back? He's 30 years old. The Browns want to bring him back. They do. But bringing Amari Cooper back at $25 to $30 million a year just doesn't make any damn sense at all. So everyone wants to pile on the Browns and say typical Browns is the Browns. The Browns are not being the Browns. The Browns are actually being smart and not just handing out a $25 to $30 million contract to a wide receiver when you look at the market at wide receiver, I have no problem with the team like the Browns giving out that money to a receiver if they're young and in their 20s. Look at the age of all the receivers that are getting paid right now. T. Higgins is 24-25, Jamar Chase 24-25, Justin Jefferson 24-20. They're all young wide receivers. So when guys like Zim Huday and these others sit here and say, y'all don't think it's weird that we had to hear about T. Higgins every day on this app? Isn't it going to be he's not going to be a Bengal. He's a hostage. You need to trade him. Yet Amari, he's in this active holdout, and it's very quiet out here. It's very telling. It's not very telling. It's not very confusing, and it's not very hard to understand. T. Higgins, it was a good business decision for the Cincinnati Bengals not to marry him long term. I was never one to jump on that train and say the Bengals are being idiots because they're not signing T. Higgins or giving him that contract extension. It's actually smart. You're going to take care of Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow, you want 2 elite wide receivers. You don't need 2 elite wide receivers. The Bengals are smart for doing this with T. Higgins, and I think that the Browns are being very, very smart for doing this with Amari Cooper. It's not the same thing. Amari Cooper, 30 years old. You're not giving him a 3-4 year, $25 to $30 million a year contract when you can argue that the best years of Amari Cooper have already happened. I'm not doing that with Amari Cooper. I don't think they're the same situation at all. I think both teams have made the right decision. The Bengals made the right decision with T, and I think the Browns are being smart, not just handing out the money to Amari Cooper.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I mean, he is 30 years old, but you see, Tyreek Hill's 30 years old. He just got paid a big chunk of money. A.J. Brown's 28. He got paid a big chunk of money.
All better than him.
Well, Amari Cooper just had the best year of his career, and he's by far the best player on this Browns offense. Outside weapon,
he's not better than A.J.
offense.
Brown and those other guys.
I think if you're going to pay him, it's going to be in that tier, and I think it's much more crucial for the Browns' success to re-sign Amari Cooper than it is for the Bengals' success to re-sign T. Higgins. I think without Amari Cooper, you have no viable receivers on that team. You're relying on Jerry Jeudy to be the number 1 receiver who's never even had 1,000 yards in his career, and he's had a litany of off-field issues, getting into battles with everyone in the stands and Steve Smith and stuff like that. I think if you let Amari Cooper go, this offense, you're relying on Nick Chubb to return to pre-injury form. You're relying on Deshaun Watson to return to Houston form with bad weapons and a good O-line and a good defense, which I guess is a recipe that the Browns are okay with operating with, which it might work. It might work, but I don't think the Browns have any shot at relative success this year without Amari Cooper on the team.
This year, no doubt.
It would be a bottom 5 receiving core in the
league.
National Football League if Amari Cooper is not a Brown. I mean,
that's no argument.
So it would be Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore as your 1, 2, and then it would be a concoction of Cedric Tillman or David Bell as your number 3.
And Elijah Moore has to play in the slot.
Y'all are down on Jerry Jeudy. I'm not saying he's like an elite wide receiver, but I think he's a very underrated wide receiver.
I think he's a solid 3.
Very good slot wide receiver that complements Amari Cooper. But again, does this screw the Browns over this upcoming season? Yes. But again, go out and get another wide receiver. They'll be fine. I mean, this isn't – you don't give him all this money because you need him this upcoming season and then screw yourself long term. You got to be smart about it as far as that's good. If you have to sacrifice the season with not elite wide receivers to have money to go into next season and potentially have money to go after a T. Higgins or go after another elite number 1 wide receiver, I'm okay with that. But I also know the Browns can't draft wide receivers. That's like you guys with offensive linemen. Browns can't draft wide receivers like Bengals can't draft O-linemen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Browns, a 3-year extension to Amari Cooper at $25-30 million a year, I think is the route the Browns should take. I think he still has. I mean, he had his best statistical season of his career last year. 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns with incredibly poor quarterback play and a revolving door at that position. So I think if you can get sustainable play out of Deshaun Watson, there's easily 3 1,100-yard, 1,200-yard seasons left at Amari Cooper.
Yeah, the paying the wide receiver things, I know some guys disagree with it. I think Reed and Casey have kind of alluded to paying wide receivers is slowly becoming like paying running backs. But at the same time, if you don't have your number 1 on your team, if you don't have that number 1 wide receiver, your team is going to hurt badly. And that would be what would happen to the Cleveland Browns. And that's if Deshaun Watson, who I will not slander, can stay healthy. If he's able to stay healthy, if he's able to be on the field before Jameis Winston comes in at some point during the season, then yeah, you're gonna need a number 1 wide receiver, and if you don't have that, your team is as good as gone. Unless Nick Chubb, of course, can stay 100% healthy, which we know that's unlikely.
I think number 1 wide receiver is the second most important position on the team right now, behind quarterback. I think if you have a legitimate number 1 option, it can take an average quarterback and make him great. It can take a great quarterback and make him, the best in the league. It can take a bad quarterback and make him sustainable. So
the Browns had the best value at wide receiver for years because I remember when they got him, they traded away a 5th or a 6th round pick. It was like nothing. He was making $20 million a year, which at that time everyone's like, you have a receiver making $20 million a year. Now they have Amari Cooper at a well, they had him at a bargain.
Right.
And he knows that. I will say, though, if you are the Cleveland Browns and you are the Haslams, and they have not restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, it's always one of those things you could restructure a contract, get a deal done with Amari Cooper, and then trade him after a year or whatever. But I think they're looking at it as, we're not going to go through all this stuff just for 1 year of Cooper, when I don't think they planned on keeping Cooper after this upcoming season to begin with.
Fair enough. If the plan was to let him walk after this year, then certainly
the reason I'm consistent with this is I've praised the Bengals because I said they're not folding to the pressure of the fans who are like, get a deal like Solomon Wilcots. I know he's adamant, like, you see the Eagles do it, like the Bengals have the money, they could do it. I'm like, well, they can. They can do it.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they want to do it, and it doesn't mean that they need to do it. Wanting and needing are two different things. The Browns could restructure some deals. They could get a deal done with Amari Cooper, but do you want to do that for a 30-year-old wide receiver? And we can go back and forth on age and whether that matters or not, but that's their decision. And the Bengals, they're like, we want T. Higgins. Of course we want T, but we are not going to pay him $23-25 million a year at the expense of other key positions out on that field, especially when we're going to have to pay so much to Jamar, and I've already made Joe Burrow a top 2 paid quarterback in the league. So, Casey, were you jumping in?
I just did a little digging on where Deshaun Watson's yardage came from, majority of it. You can make the assumption that most of it came from a number 1 receiver. It's more than 50% of his yards came from Amari Cooper. I think it's important that you keep him around because you're going to be invested in him long term, Deshaun Watson, that being. You need to make sure that he is going to be able to play at the top of his game. And I think that means that he needs Amari Cooper with him. At least that's what the history has shown, at least from the last couple seasons, at least. That being said, I do agree with you that paying receivers is almost becoming a moot point. You had an opportunity to draft one this year, and you didn't. So that's the other. It's a two-way street. Like, usually, if you're not going to pay the guy, if you're not planning on paying Amari Cooper and he ends up sitting out, you have a backup plan. Browns didn't do that. They went out and got Jerry Jeudy. So that's your backup plan. Are you really ready to roll with Jerry Jeudy for the remainder of this season and moving forward? Probably not. So go ahead and sign Amari Cooper to a 2 or 3 year deal and just let him finish out his career.
It's also, you have to set Deshaun Watson up for success.
Yeah.
And you only have so many more years left on this deal that he's locked into. I feel like just punting on a year or giving him terrible weapons is not the best way to go about a fully guaranteed contract.
But signing him to a bad contract for 1 year, but then everyone
You're
will rip
right,
the
but if the
Browns are one
rosters
of those organizations that they get ripped no matter what decision that they do. For instance, if they don't go make that trade for Deshaun, it's crap organization with no quarterback. Then they try to go get a really talented quarterback who I know has not looked talented to this point. But then they go and they do everything they can to get that said quarterback, and then it's, stupid organization. Look what they did to get him. It's like, what are we doing? Constantly moving the goalposts. It is what it is, but the bottom line is I can say that all I want. The results still aren't coming, though, so it don't matter. Like, this season coming up, it's, Jay said it yesterday. Any one of these teams could win the division. Any one of these teams could finish in last. The Bengals could finish in last. They could win. Steelers could win the division. They could finish in last. Browns could win the division. They could finish in last. Same thing with the Ravens. So the margin of error is so slim. But I will say the Browns have a 0% shot of winning the division without Amari Cooper this upcoming season.
100%.
That I will say, no doubt about it.
Everyone that talks about the Browns always tells me how close this roster is and how this roster is a quarterback away from winning. If this roster is a quarterback away from winning, how do you let Amari Cooper walk?
Because, again, it's not about react. You can't react to one season. You can't react to this.
I think that's how you have to operate when you pay your quarterback already.
Really? But, then you're –
Like, franchise tagging T. Higgins instead of letting him walk is capitalizing on one season.
But then getting nothing back in return when you have limited cap space moving forward and can't afford to pay guys, then you need draft picks, and they're not going to have it, too. So that's a gamble for the Bengals.
You get a third.
So, a third.
If he walks.
Well, no, yeah, for the
comp.
But does it every year move back? Do you get a later draft pick if it's another year of the tag?
Yeah, if you tag him again.
Okay. All right. Kinner, Justin Kinner with you here. I best said Kinner and Kev show. My bad. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Again, on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. I see, what was that? Elliot saying it's a mute point. Mute being the key word.
It's a mute point. It's a moot point.
All right. More Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers when we come back. All right, welcome back.
Final segment.
Final segment. Maybe for Kinner at this point. People are pissed off.
They want you fired.
People are pissed off.
It's never good when they want you fired. I've been there.
They want me fired?
Yeah, they're saying AJ's saying fire you.
For what?
He said you're turning this into a Cleveland talk show.
Hold on, that was going to be like a very light talking point. I came in today, and it was technically Jacob take one for the team here.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
I wasn't going to go in as hot and heavy on this, but
I also think that is a Bengals topic as well.
I think all AFC North news is. I've said that on my show in Dayton. I was like, anything, and by the way, I have friends who do sports talk in Cleveland that say anything that happens with the Bengals is Browns news because everything that happens in this tight division, and we just talked about it, every team can win it, every team can finish in last.
Right.
Everything is so slim. Whatever happens in Pittsburgh, I mean, we've spent segments on the Pittsburgh Steelers because of what that means for the Browns, what that means for the Ravens, what that means for the Bengals. Like, I think it's very simple-minded to live in a silo where you're only focusing on your team and your team only, because everything that other teams do in your division matters. 100%. Everything that the Chiefs are doing matters. Everything that the Bills are doing matters as far as that's concerned, especially with how tight the AFC is.
No question about it.
So we'll see. But is Kenner from Dayton and he's a Browns fan, or is he from more north? I am from up north, from Van Wert, Ohio, City of Dreams.
City of Dreams. City by the Bay, the Big Apple.
The City of Dreams?
Yep. Small city with 2 McDonald's.
How about that?
Wow.
That's how you know you've made it, when you don't get just one but 2.
It's true.
Yeah.
Is there a bad one and a good one?
There's a north side of town and a on the way out of town one.
Is there a bad one and a good one?
I don't think so. It's been a while. I mean, when I go to Van Wert, I'm not all about the McDonald's.
AJ says Van Wert is a dump.
There's a reason I'm here in Hamilton, Ohio.
The city of stars. Hamilton is the city of stars.
City of stars.
That's true.
That's what they call it.
That's true.
Van Wert has Allie Clifton. Allie Clifton was the sideline reporter for the Cleveland Cavaliers for many years, and then she became part of LeBron's circle, so then she followed him to Los Angeles, so she's part of the Lakers crew there with James Worthy and all those guys, so she does their network stuff there. So there's that, and then there's me. Not a whole lot happening in Old Van Wert, Ohio. So what do we got for, again, Reds-Yankees coming up, Game 2 tonight. All right, they get Game 1.
Listen, I'm going to be very, very excited to see how they lose tonight.
Oh, I think it's going to be interesting.
I think I will. I'll say that it's going to be. It's going to be. Close,
it's not going to be a blowout.
No, it'll be a close game.
What are we thinking? 2-0, 1-0?
2-1.
2-1.
Reds score in the first inning.
What's the over/under for Reds hits?
2.5.
2.5.
I say they lose 4-2.
Okay, Casey.
Score today, I'm going to go no.
Yes, score today.
Double checking.
Score next.
I'm going to go 4-3.
They lose or win?
Win.
Wow.
Ooh.
If we score 4 runs, I'll do something over the weekend.
What will you do?
I don't know. I'll come over to Elliot's house, get in the hot tub, and we'll make a Dreamweaver video together.
A joint hot tub video. That'll be good. Kenner?
I'm looking at my gaming app right now. No free ads, but
of
the
course.
particular one I'm using, of course. Last night, I was so close.
You were so close.
I put $2 down that the Reds would win 5-3. And I got really excited in the 6th inning when it was exactly that, 5-3. And I should not have sent the group chat. I should not have sent it there.
No,
but I got so excited. I'm like, oh, here we go. Now we ride. Like, here we go. I should have known better, because then if I wouldn't have sent it, I think it would have won, and I could have sent you after, like, hey, guys, look what I just did. But I jumped the gun as far as that's concerned. So I'm taking a look at what the payout. But $2 would have won like $96 or something crazy. So I do that every night. I always pick a couple, guess the scores. I'll put about $10 a night down, just $2 on a couple. I hit every once in a while, and then all the money I lose throughout, I usually, when I hit once or twice throughout that month, it just makes it all back.
Yeah.
But one of these times I'm going to hit once, not twice, maybe 3 times. It's going to be a good week. I'm going to bring some of that Van Wert McDonald's into you guys.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
go for some lunch.
Wow.
Might be a little cold by the time I get it from old Van Wert.
the Van
Especially if
Wert-
I go to the north location, not the south location.
Since Van Wert is so isolated, do you think they use the rules that when you go to Switzerland, the McDonald's over there is so different, it's not even the same menu? Do you think Van Wert has its own specialized menu?
Oh, like the Kinder Double or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Like,
something like that. It's
I
specialized.
have no idea. It's been a while.
But we have to go back there and check.
Oh, we're gonna make a road trip.
Chatterbox
Yeah.
Van Wert trip.
How far is Van Wert to here?
I think Reed worked in Van Wert. I think our guy
Really?
Reed worked in Van Wert. I thought the Times Bulletin. All right, circulation of 100. All right, I think Reed worked it to the Times Bulletin in Van Wert, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken.
2 hours and 11 minutes.
From here?
Yeah.
Not bad.
We can get there.
Drew Garrison, Super Chat, need Kinner's thoughts on Hamburger Wagon. What is Hamburger Wagon?
It's a good question.
I also don't know what a hamburger
idea.
wagon is either. Anybody?
Not a clue.
Nobody knows.
No
That
idea.
seemed to be a wasted $2, Drew. Nobody
Drew,
knows.
I need your thoughts on Hamburger Wagon.
Yeah,
What the hell is
we need an
Hamburger
explanation here.
Is that a restaurant, or is that a?
Or is it a wagon?
It appears to just be maybe a wagon.
I am craving a hamburger all of a sudden, though. Not gonna lie. This is a Friday show, guys. I know it's Wednesday, but it's our Friday, and it has Friday feels. What is it?
It looks like it's a hamburger wagon that sells hamburgers.
Wow.
I guess we could have probably got that.
In
We probably could have
There's a
figured
couple
that.
dots
We
we
probably
could've
could have figured that out.
in Miamisburg.
Oh, what the hell? We're talking about Van Wert, and then again, I'll have to go to the Hamburger Wagon. In fact, I might stop at Miamisburg at the Hamburger Wagon on the way back.
Please, let's do it. But real quick before we get back into the very serious sports discussion.
Yes, very serious.
This is the big firework week. There's a lot of sometimes people that come out and say, if you're selfish if you light fireworks off because my dog needs to sleep. What are your thoughts on those people?
I have never had a 4th of July where I spend less than like $300 on fireworks.
Oh, you're a firework guy?
Oh, I'm like after.
Do you actually light them off yourself?
Yeah,
or you
yeah. Go get the boxes from Rosie's. Drive over the border to Indiana, get a bunch of fireworks. Yeah, no, it's $200-300 on fireworks.
I'm fortunate. I have 2 dogs that honestly do not react to that. But they'll see a mailman 2 blocks away or whatever putting something in the mailbox, and they'll just lose their damn mind. So, I'll take that. But I'm fortunate that that's the case. But,
I love fireworks.
I don't care. Look, you kind of know this is the week that everyone's going to be lighting those off, right? But, it's the people that have enough ammo to go into August, right?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is happening here?
Or the people that start like a week early.
That's happened. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's. I do think there's a point. Like if you're lighting fireworks off on Sunday still, let's zone it back in.
Night of the 3rd, all day on the 4th, Saturday night. I think you're fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Everything else.
Well, Sunday's fine because they could just be celebrating my birthday.
You got work on Monday. Let me go to sleep.
Yeah, too much. We have a super chat here from Jeremiah Feast. $1.99. He paid his own company $1.99 to read this. Justin Kinner is 6'5".
Yes, I am. Not.
You want to stand up?
How many Justin Kinners do we have to stack on top of you to get to 6'5"?
To get to 6'5". I think you might have got shorter when you stood up out of the chair.
Can you dunk?
Dunk.
Yeah.
Nick Kirby says fireworks suck. Reed says his dogs don't like fireworks. Interesting.
Bad take, Kirby. Bad take.
Interesting.
Fireworks are a good time.
I like fireworks. I'm going tonight. We have a big party. Shout out to Kaluga Park. We're going to Kaluga Park, and I'll be watching the big fireworks show they have there by my house.
Yeah,
Someone
I
says-
like fireworks.
Yeah,
but
someone said stop the fireworks slander. I don't know if we're are we slandering anything? Who's slandering it?
I think Kirby.
I think Kirby slandered it. Blackmore says Kinner sweats worse than Reed.
That's all I noticed too. When I did this, I'm like, damn. Yeah,
Gray shirts are tough. Gray shirts are tough.
yeah,
Reed
I'm
has the
learning
same
that.
issue. Mouse Guy wanted me to clarify. Yes, my parents' house. Yes, live at home. Thank you, Mouse.
All right, we only have a couple more minutes as we close out this radio portion real quick. We can get back to the fireworks
5
stuff
minutes.
in a
The
moment.
final 5 minutes.
Oh, we have 5 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to rush Art here. My fault. I apologize.
5 minutes.
My gosh.
You can talk about anything in 5 minutes.
Who has the NL Central Roundup?
Oh,
do.
You have it. You could just pull up. Are you reading it, or you have
We
the
got
standings in
graphics.
front of you? We got graphics.
We got
This
graphics.
is great stuff. This is great stuff.
Your
All
NL
right, we send it to Jimmy
Yeah.
with the NL Central update. What we got?
NL Central Rays Brewers, after a win last night, still comfortably in first place at 51-35. You got the Cardinals in second, 44-40, who are currently facing off with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tonight, you have Miles Michaelis against Jared Jones. Should be a good game. Cardinals are 6 games back of the Brewers, and the Pirates are 10 games back. And then you have the Reds, who made a game up last night after a big win in New York. They're 40-45, a half game back of the Pirates. And then the Cubs in last place at 39-47.
And that.
Is your NL Central.
Oh, we got more. We got more.
Here's your wild card race. Jacob, you want to do this one?
Sure, yeah. Wild card race. You have the Braves, the Cardinals, and the Padres in those 3 slots right now. Then the Mets 1 game above 500, just 1 game back at that 3rd spot. And then the Giants, Diamondbacks, and Pirates 2.5, 3, and 3.5 games back. And then your lowly Cincinnati Reds, 40 and 45, 4 games back of the wild card slot. If you're 5 games below 500 and 4 games back of the wild card slot, you play in a pretty bad league.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Who are the in-nationals?
Oh, there seems to be an I in there. But it's just the Nationals.
They're the in-nationals.
They're in D.C.
They're in
the nation's capital.
They're in the wild card race.
They're in the nation's capital in the wild card race, 5 games back at 39 and 46. There are 2 teams not on this list, the Marlins and the Rockies, who are not in contention. But the last team that we consider in contention, the Chicago Cubs.
Oh!
For thoughts on the 39 and 47 Chicago Cubs, 5.5 games back, we're going to go to Reed.
Reed. Thoughts, Reed.
Thanks, Reed. That's great.
Good stuff.
Best take of the day. Best take of the day. I found this, by the way. So we think the National, how much better do you think the American League is than the National League?
Like
so
3 times.
So I would agree. I thought so too. It's kind of like the perception the NBA, like the Western Conference, has always been better than the Eastern Conference. But Jay Kuda on Twitter put out, here's the win-loss here's the combined win-loss records for AL and NL teams this year. Now this was put out, what is today? Wednesday. So this was put out Monday. I didn't get to read it yesterday. So there's been games played since. But I'm actually very surprised how dead even this actually is. So as of Monday night, the American League is a combined 633 and 633. The National League as of Monday night was 631 and 631.
Wow.
Like that to me,
that's impressive.
I would not have guessed that. When I heard you say that, I was like, if I wouldn't have seen this, I would have agreed with that 1,000,000%. But I'm like, I think we can all agree that the best teams in baseball, there are more of the best teams in baseball sitting in the American League. So I don't disagree with that whatsoever. But as a combining the records of all American League, National League teams, I was kind of thrown off by that fact that 633, the American League combined record as of Monday night, and then 631, the combined record of the National League as of Monday night. So there you go.
I was scrolling through Twitter last night. Did you see how the White Sox Guardians game ended last night?
I did not.
The Guardians walked it off, and Luis Robert caught the ball in center field, and it was a tag. And he didn't even try and throw the ball in. And some White Sox fan was complaining about it on Twitter, and the first reply under it was "Who cares, bro? We're 39 games under 500." They're 39 games under 500, and we're still 10 games from the All-Star break.
I understand that it's just the American League East being a juggernaut. It's not a great representation of the entire American League, but the 54 and 33 Yankees are a wild card team in the American League.
Oh, that'd
be the second best record in the National League. It's crazy.
I mean, you got the Guardians there at the top with one of the best records, too. I mean, the Orioles. I mean, again, the American League definitely stacked as far as that's concerned. Yeah. Chances that the World Series champion comes out of the National League?
I think it's an exact 50-50. Because I think the Phillies and the Dodgers are absolutely good enough. But if you have a team like the Diamondbacks who sneak in around 500 in the 3rd wildcard spot and upset one of those teams on the whole rest versus rust debate on the first round, then, it probably is going to be the American League. They're much, much deeper. But if one of those top 2 teams in the National League come out, I think they can definitely win it.
Yeah.
Honest fan, before we end the show, we got about 1 minute left. Honest fan in our chat would like us to talk about a Will Benson. So this is my Will Benson segment. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting 160 with a 214 OBP and a 320 slug. He has 11 strikeouts and 25 at-bats with 4 hits. In his last 15 games, he's hitting .093 with a 149 OBP and a 186 slug. He has 19 strikeouts and 43 at-bats in his last 15 games. That is 4 hits. That is your Will Benson segment.
And before we end the show, we have a cherry on top presented by United Dairy Farmers. Poor Kenner.
We're going to make fun of a dead dog?
We're going to remember a dead dog.
Classless.
We're going to remember a dead dog.
Something so classless since, it's been about 24 hours.
We're going to do a moment of remembrance, maybe even a moment of silence.
For SJ, the mascot, who passed away at 6. Cleveland Browns put out a statement. We are so grateful for his many years of loyal support and cherish all the wonderful memories he helped create for fans young and old.
What the hell's wrong with you guys? This is a dog.
I love dogs, and if a mascot dies, we're going to remember him on this show.
I can't wait for when your tiger dies. I can't wait.
Well, they don't have a live one. So
it died?
You'd be making fun of a person. It'd be a mascot.
He had it coming. Or she. I have no idea. I mean, you're mocking the passing of a dog.
You're mocking it. We're just remembering the death of a beautiful
really?
dog.
So if I go back and replay Casey reading that and not in a smart-ass tone, you mean to tell me that was his condolence sound?
Casey DM'd us that on Twitter earlier in the show and goes, "This has to be the cherry on top."
From the top rope. It's a very scary place.
I don't condone dog hatred.
I love dogs. I love dogs more than people.
I was just
remembering his death.
But Jeremiah's comment, where is it?
Made me laugh.
Where's the Jeremiah comment?
She died at 6.
Bro, she died at 6.
What?
Jeremiah said, "Bro, she died at 6?"
And then he said, "Rest in peace, but 6 is crazy work."
Crazy work.
Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers.
Jeremiah.
Have a great 4th of July
illness.
week, everybody. Until next week, this has been Off the Bench on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. And just so you know, the show's not over. The show's over on radio, but we will continue
We're
on
gonna keep going
YouTube.
for a little bit.
That wraps it up for us. Thank you.
Ken, would you like to read Drew Garrison's last message?
Yes. Oh, you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Members only video dropping Friday. Kinner's top 10 massage parlors. I've never got a massage.
That's good.
Probably why I'm so tense all the time.
Yeah, Joe Burrow plays chess. I go learn chess. Joe Burrow throws a towel. I go learn.
Joe Burrow probably could
throwing
use a
towels.
massager too. He seems a little,
And the wrist.
a little fragile. Just saying.
A little
There's
broken.
a reason that I think Deshaun. I mean, there's a reason he's been injured a lot in Cleveland.
It's true.
A little
Deep,
tense.
that deep tissue's getting real tight.
Yeah.
He doesn't,
Correlation.
he doesn't like those team massage therapists. He needs his own.
That's right.
You have anything to add?
No, I do not. I'm on suspension until the season starts.
Oh, but then it's
Fair game.
Elliot
then we go.
rearing at night, like.
And then it's fair game. Yep. I'm on suspension until the season starts.
Everett Henry, I'm with you 1,000,000%. If there's one thing you don't do, it's mess with dogs. I'm very ashamed.
I love dogs.
Dude, you said the other day you hated dogs.
I don't think that's true.
That's very true. Or you didn't say hate, but
When did I say I hate dogs?
you said something that alluded to not
I hate
liking
cats.
dogs. I mean, cats are. I don't like.
I have
cats,
2
but I don't
dogs.
hate
You like
cats.
jungle cats, but not house cats.
Oh yeah, jungle cats.
That's right, Casey.
That's right.
The Cincinnati.
And I like
Hear that
house
Bengal
dogs.
growling, lean and angry. Here he comes a prowling, mean and
What
hungry.
a
An offensive
horrible
brute.
little song.
Run past your boot.
I like house dogs.
And defensively,
I don't-
he's rough and
I don't
tough.
like rabid, crazy dogs.
Cincinnati Bengals. That's the team we're going to cheer to victory.
That's right.
Who
Touchdown
has
Bengals.
dogs in this unit here? Jimmy, what's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Farley.
Farley.
After Chris?
No.
Love Chris Farley.
She just turned 6 actually. She's
6.
a pug. Yeah, she just turned 6.
Casey, what about you? You a dog guy?
I am a dog guy. I do not have my own dog. I've been taking care of my family's dog for a couple of years now. It's actually leaving here on the 12th, so I'm going to be saying goodbye to a dog. It's going to go back to its home with its family, and maybe I'll get a new dog. I'll get a little puppy or something.
Ooh, and then we should just make a series, Casey and his dog.
Yeah.
And then you can name it
SJ. I'll name it SJ.
I want the dog to roam around in here while we're on the air.
SJ, like SJ Tui from The Blind Side.
No, like the dog
like
we
the-
just talked about.
Yeah, like the dog
SJ.
we just talked
Wait,
about.
SJ.
In remembrance of the dog.
You could also name
Great
it
movie. I can't believe that they tried to sue Sandra Bullock for what the
Yeah, I know.
like that was the dumbest thing
What?
ever.
They didn't.
They
I don't
tried to
think
take
actually- I
they
don't
tried to
think
take away
actually
her movie awards or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted her to return them. Like Jesus,
Damn.
like that doesn't make any sense, but is what it is.
My dog's name is Juno.
Juno, just one dog, just Juno, Juno.
Uno Juno.
Uno Juno.
My dog's name is Fancy. She's very fancy.
I feel bad for her. I don't think you take care of her.
She's about 95 pounds. She's 13 years old.
You feed her a lot, then that's good.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
I have 2. My dog Macy, who's a beagle. Beagles are awesome. I almost got another beagle the other day. The wife got mad at me. I still think if I just came home with a dog, she would have no choice but to love it.
I
I
just got
really
one little
do.
clarification from you. Is it your dog?
Nope.
Don't let him do that to you, dude. I'm team you
The
with
funny
that.
thing is, I
'Cause
also
I've been
live
there.
at home.
Don't let him do
Well,
that to you.
listen, I feel I have a good group of friends I like to think of. Over half of them still live at home, so I feel like I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I still live
But
at home.
Mouse Cop, listen, he traveled cities. He's in Cincinnati or wherever the hell he's at now, and good for him. Mouse Cop is a grown adult. I'm sure he comes from a lot of money.
That's why he has a burner and a YouTube chat.
That's right.
Because he's a grown adult.
All right, listen. Don't let them do that to you. I'm Team Elliott with that. Living on your own sucks.
Oh, it's the worst. That's why I'm not doing it.
Just saying. All right, what else we got? We go around the room. Because it's 11:56. Yeah, someone accused us of starting late and then ending the show early. No. We're going right up to noon.
That's right.
Right up to noon.
And then we're quipping.
What was your other dog? You didn't say your other dog's name.
Oh, Mickey. She's just a mutt. Sounds like I don't love her as much as I love the beagle. I love both of them equally. But I am going to get another beagle. I'm actively looking for a beagle puppy. So if anyone has, can connect me with someone with beagle puppies, I will gladly pick one up on the way home from the show today. And when my wife comes home, she'll be very, very pissed. However, when she kicks me out, I'll have an awesome new puppy to take with me to my new place.
Yes.
So it's as simple as that.
Drew has a good super chat for you.
Who is Kinner voting for and why? Who? You guys want to learn something about me? You guys ready for this?
Let's go.
I'm 34 years old.
Oh, no.
Never voted.
And I do not vote.
Oh.
I am not smart enough to get into any kind of political conversation. I know my limits.
No.
And I honestly think that anyone that is truly passionate on either side, it's just kind of silly. So I'll just leave it at that. Like, that's as close to the political conversation as I'll get, because I'm admitting I am not intelligent enough to have a deep-rooted political conversation. I have takes on things that we're not going to get into because that's not what this is for. But yeah, nice try, Drew, but it ain't going to work.
Yeah, listen, the Hardo Patriots are going to come after you now because you're not doing your civic duty. You're not voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden, the two best candidates we have to offer in this country. Young, spry, beautiful men. They did great at that debate.
I never felt
One
more
has
proud.
2 club championships, not senior.
That's when I'm thinking about who I'm voting for in the fall. I'm going to be thinking about one has a 6 handicap, but one has 2 club championships.
Not senior.
Not senior. Not senior.
Dude, listen, I never felt more proud to not be a voter than the debate last week. But that was so entertaining.
It was
I don't
great.
care. I'm sorry. The most entertaining hour, 2 hours of television ever will always be those Hillary and Trump debates. We're not talking politics, but I think we can all acknowledge how funny those were. I know you're not tuning into those for funny, but damn it, we got funny.
They're all funny. They're all funny to me.
Literally, the way we gather for football games and stuff, we gather for debates. It's that and we all don't agree with all the same stuff. That's why I love my friends, because we can all get together and act like adults and make fun of both sides and have fun, right? Like, that's what's great about it. I love the watch parties for these debates. I think they're hilarious.
Twitter is an all-time high whenever these debates happen. It's the best Twitter night of all time when any of them happen.
I mean, that last one was Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore, top 5, whatever you want to say. After the debate, I mean, Twitter was all time.
It was good.
Drew Garrison helped my one tweet go viral. I had a tweet go viral that night.
Oh, of the debate?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
I said for the presidency, we're going to have Trump versus Biden in a golf match at Augusta. They must carry their own bag.
It's when he said
winner wins the presidency. Loser goes to inside the NBA to replace Charles Barkley.
How many views did it get?
Like 600,000, I think.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Selfish. Should have put that on Chatterbox.
It felt like how Kirby feels every night.
Speaking of politics, did you see LeBron signed a 2-year?
Yeah, 2-year max.
You know, he signed the 2-year max contract with the Lakers.
That made me very, very upset this morning.
So is this 2 years left of his career? He has an opt-out after next year,
I think it's 2 years left, unless somehow, some way he wins an MVP or a championship this year, then he'd retire on top. He'd opt out of that second year. But if everything goes according to plan and the Lakers are a play-in team that loses in the playoffs, I think he's going to go full farewell tour the year after next, and then that'll be it.
They will be a play-in team next year. They will be eliminated in the play-in tournament. I like LeBron. I just don't think they've done jack shit to get this roster where it needs to be. It ticks me off. But hey, he got his son drafted, and he'll be on the end of the bench. But hey, there you go.
It's true.
At least
I just want him to get to 40,000 points.
They're the number 1 scoring father-son duo in the NBA.
That graphic's going to go crazy
Cannot
when
argue with
Bronny
that.
hits one free throw, and it's like they've combined for 39,677 points.
Yeah.
Drew said that the Angel Reese tweet got him a $125 check. Oh, he told me about that. That spun out of control for him. The WNBA hot takes getting people paid. How about that?
Angel Reese, All-Star.
Yeah, whatever.
Caitlin Clark, All-Star. Pretty cool.
There you go.
Is Angel Reese an Olympian?
No.
Okay, she's not either.
The only rookie Olympian, I believe, was Cameron Brink, who's no longer going because she tore ACL.
I see.
Oh, well. But now Caitlin Clark and they have to be teammates now.
Teammates.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Fever, worst roster in the league, most All-Stars in the league.
Ooh, how about that?
So
Start that dialogue.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense too. They're so bad, but they have 3 All-Stars. That's the wildest thing to me.
But they are bad. I've watched them play.
But yeah, there's that.
But
bad
they're
start.
All-Stars.
But they get throttled by actual good teams.
Right.
It's wild. But I do. I found myself up late last night watching the Reds and then right into Caitlin Clark and yeah, there you go.
Wait. Before we end it, who you got in the hot dog competition tomorrow?
Is that tomorrow? Is that the one on Netflix?
Yeah,
or is this
no,
the Nathans?
no
This
Chestnut,
is
no Kobayashi.
It's always on the floor.
No. Chestnut's back.
He's back?
They got
It was
him
a
back.
PR stunt.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was a PR stunt or it was like maybe they thought that people would actually watch their hot dog competition without Joey Chestnut, which is most certainly not the case. I only tune in for Chestnut, so I think they were like, you know what, let's cut a deal with. I don't know. I think it was like some fake meat company.
Yeah, it was like Impossible Dogs or whatever.
It was whoever's the fake meat company. I think they worked up a deal. He's back in it.
I don't know. It grosses me out.
No, he's
the hot
not.
dog eating contest.
Yeah, he is. I saw news on it. I saw it.
They released an article.
I saw that he wasn't in it.
That's what I saw, but then I saw he was back.
They released an article 16 hours ago on Sports Illustrated of him talking about opening up about the contest ban. But he is doing a matchup with longtime rival Kobayashi and much more in an exclusive like Netflix.
Joey Chestnut has a meet and greet on the 4th in Fort Bliss. He will not be in the
Oh,
competition.
Fort Bliss. That's
This
in
is
El Paso,
disgusting.
Texas.
He tweeted, "This
I
4th
got
of July
duped.
will be a little different.
got
I'm
duped.
eating a
You
whole
get
lot of
duped,
beef
dude.
hot
You
dogs."
had the
I got
ending
duped.
to back-to-back shows has just left you in horrible moods.
I got Barry McCockernerd.
I will say this, though.
Two epic sound bites to close both shows this week.
I got buried.
That's tough.
Inner.
Was it officially Barry?
I don't know. I might have been Barry.
We're going to have to look.
It might have been Barry.
If
You said it with-
if there's no Joey Chestnut, though, I can't name someone else in it. So I don't know who else to pick.
Yeah, there's no one else to pick.
I will say one thing, though. Bet your bottom dollar Badlands Chugs wins the Chug competition.
Yes.
That is my guy. I love me
Yes.
some Badlands Chugs.
The hot dog contest makes me nauseous. Not gonna lie.
Badlands Chugs is going to win by a lot.
Are you a Badlands Chugs guy, too?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the GOAT.
This is the last off the bench for the week. We'll be back at it on Monday. Closing thoughts. We'll go around the room. Jake, any closing thoughts?
I just really want the Reds to win a series. That's all I want.
Really,
So you got 2 more games to win one, and let's just do that.
Closing thoughts. I'm a positive Reds fan,
That's who you are.
That's who you are.
and they're gonna lose tonight. Anybody else? I don't think they're done. I guess
Man!
they zoned out.
I guess Riley Leonard
Yeah.
is a Heisman contender.
That's good. I learned that actually the Cleveland Browns actually had a dog mascot. I didn't
They
know
don't
that.
anymore.
They don't anymore. They're gonna find a replacement.
Who's next?
Remember,
in
y'all
line?
found that really funny earlier? Remember?
Who's next in line?
I don't know. I don't know if they have a puppy. I don't know if they have like a first puppy or something
elf.
like
Yeah,
that.
the elf. Do they have an
Huh?
elf?
The elf.
Got to use the elf.
What a weird franchise. And I love that franchise, but what a weird franchise. No doubt about it. Not about it. All right, folks, have a great rest of your day. Until next week, this has been Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers.